Hi. Welcome. Hope you are doing good. Oh my god. I'm flat because I want to spread democracy. Oh my god. I, hey. Hello. Hope you're doing good. I definitely did not I definitely did not overslept. Oh, Scream. I forgot Screamish doesn't work. Ooh. Oh yeah, Screamish doesn't. Can I can only re-trigger event but not refund it? Uh-oh. I forgot Screamish doesn't work on 2D.
There we go, I paused it. I'm still browsing mods. my plan for today was honestly looking through Helldivin 2 mods and look at some performance mods that it's available in like for Helldivin 2, right? And then there's also Potogen mod that I want to do. I tried doing that, but then again, I kind of overslept. I kind of overslept, right? I woke up at about 10 this morning, which is surprising to be honest, right? I woke up at 10, and then I was like, oh, I'm still a little bit groggy, right? I still kind of feel sleepy. I feel like I need more sleep. So I went and eat a little bit of a very light breakfast, right? A very, very light breakfast. Might as well just be a snack of some sort, right? So I had a little snack and then went back to sleep. And then suddenly I woke up and it's already 1:50. It's like, oh wow, I needed to start it. Well, I need to start at 2. And then it's already 1:50. Scared me a little bit, huh? But yeah, it's all good. Alright, okay, so I'm actually looking at mods here. Oh, reshade? Just when you want to effect listen, but you can uncheck everything. I've seen that install reshade for everything in archive into Helldivin 2 bin. Browser go fast and still they find it. This is just a reshape plugin and config for it, simple and easy. Oh. Okay. Reshade supports all directory. You know what? We can look at this together. I don't know what this is. So I need this thing. I need this reshade thing to make
this work? So this mod came out 2 days ago, according to Nexus, and it has 3K download. I think that's not bad, honestly. Okay, what's the toggle group list for reshade add-on? Shader toggle. Where's this again? Add into two game shaders on and off group. Okay, I also want Protogen Helldiver. I also want Protogen Helldiver. Do I need let's see, place all extract file in this directory, data. Showing 2 mod version differentiated used. Emissive metal, roughness. Actually there's no emission and metalness, but it's roughness. Actually the emission and metalness but lacks roughness. Oh. I also recommend using cap removal mod if you would like to avoid clipping with the tail. Oh, it could technically run an helmet. No, the first prototype one. Oh. I guess we can give it a try. Imagine Cobalt Helldiver. I wonder, right? I wonder. I don't know if I want this thing. There are other performance mods out there, but I don't know if it's gonna work. Get back. So these are a few performance mods. 1 year ago, 9 months ago, 4 months ago, and this is like 2 days ago. Phone's 100% GPU load to 30% for me. Oh. Config. Extreme performance config with CPU performance registry. Registry edits and DirectX level limiter. Ooh, registry is a little bit spicy. Let's try and game crash if never first start. So keeps crashing. Fix my first issue. This is a few days ago. One of my first figures in first person aiming is I don't use first person, so it's fine. Same thing. That's my destroyer. It's a shot. Ooh. Let me check the description of this mod. I'm gonna look at mods for a little bit because I want to kind of try to play this game at its full capacity. Well, at least let this game play a little bit smoother, you know? What should be changed by you? How to use? Open. Drop the config into the archive. From archive in folder, break up original file, copy check all settings for new config. Make config read only after tweaking for yourself to prevent config from getting reset on changes in gamer updates. That can go. Contribution will take extra performance gain, launch game. So it's a config file. I don't think it has. I don't think it has registry. There's a lot of user screen getting from to now. In case of CPU bottleneck as well. Comes with registry edit, DirectX control panel, and respective guide. But it looks like it only has a file. .exe. Oh, there it is. Registry and then config. Right. So I guess the config is. Maybe this one, like the optional one. Allow async compute. Set to true if turning it on in game helps you in particular gain more FPS. Oh, I don't think I want that. But be aware it might be lower FPS. It might lower FPS drastically. Yeah, I've been using this one. Good enough. Please make it enough. Okay. First 18 lines of config and last 5 lines on config. I guess we can give it a try, why not, right? So I'm gonna manually download this. I'm gonna go here and then Helldivers 2. You know, honestly, I should have done this off stream, but you know, I was asleep. I was asleep, so it's very my fault as well. I shouldn't be asleep, but then again, I kind of want to sleep for a little bit longer. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. The reshade thing, I'll probably look at it after. Right now I'm gonna use this one for now. This one has 12k, 15k. More likes on this one, more likes on this one. I mean, obviously, because this is like longer. Oh, yeah, reshade. Yeah, okay, so we have this now. What do you have inside? Why is there a .exe? Why do you have a .exe, bro? Okay, okay, it's a save.exe, I just don't know what it does. Okay. So I guess it's safe, we read the guide. Start this, go to edit list, click button with 3 dots. From Steam folder, check disable feature level upgrade, choose feature level limit. The older your hardware is, the lower level you might need to choose. Try multiple then to compare performance you again. If you don't know which one to try first, 10.1 as it tends to be best for feedback. So you delete everything inside. Roaming arrowhead? Before starting the game again. Oh! Hi, Aquaboy. For speed priority registry edits from not registered from upload. This is all a lot of things. It's so different from the description here. Because this one is only saying about the config, right? I guess we tweak with the config for now. We don't do too much of the things. We only mess with config right now. So config goes to oh, we need to go here. Update our roaming arrowhead. Okay. So I'll go here. Oops. User name. View hidden data. Roaming arrowhead. Okay, there was 2. So here, drop user settings.config from archive in folder. Pick up original file to copy checkout settings for new config. Oh, it's an XML configuration. Okay. So if I copy this one out, this thing. Okay. And then now from the archive, which is this one. Sorry, not this one. This. I only have it here. So user settings config. Background original file. Okay, so I have that. Make config read only after tweaking for yourself to prevent config from getting reset on changes in game or updates. So copy, replace. Go to properties, set to read only. It already is read only. It opens with Microsoft Visual Studios. I'm pretty sure I can open with Notepad, but then it's XML, so I'm not too sure. Yeah, Photoshop extra performance gain. Yeah, okay. So that's it. What should be changed by you? Put your screen resolution. Okay, it doesn't seem. Yeah, it doesn't see my thing. So give me a second. I wonder if I can open with Notepad. Yep, sure can. Okay, set the true. I'm not using a sync compute, so it's fine. Frame rate limit enabled. I think this could be changed inside game. But I want to true this one. True to 60. Render back end 0. Okay. I'm just doing this real quick. Well, as quick as I can do. As quick as I can be, actually. First 18 lines. I don't know if these are the first 18 lines, probably. Oh, you play some full screen? I kind of want to play with borderless full screen. I feel like it's much better. Yeah, I want Ballers full screen. So this is the things that has already been changed. This one I don't need because I'm not using it. Okay, I don't think I need to change any of these. So let's go to the last 5. Screen resolution. That's a weird resolution. Screen resolution, I want it to be this thing. So, battling the whole cheap thing. Beasting Falls Midnight Mode, true. Why do you want Midnight Mode? I think this one can be changed inside. What is this? What the fuck? Why is there data privacy? Okay, so some of the settings I believe can be... Oh, it's read-only. Okay, wait. Okay, how do I do this? I have to save this as XML. This one, replace it. Yes. Can I give it a different file name? Oh, fuck, I forgot to change it to not read-only. Can I change it now? Okay, now we save this. We're gonna go to that thing again. We're almost done, I think. So, users, name, app data, roaming, arrowhead. There was 2. Config, properties, read-only, apply. Okay. That should do, right? That should do, I hope. So we close this one. Now we go to Protogen Helldiver. This one should be pretty easy, right? Very straightforward. Place unrestricted data files to this directory. Helldivers 2 data. Okay. So this one is very straightforward. I like it. I want emissive metal. Downloading mods on a fucking games like this. Hell yeah, why not? It'll take a while. I should have let it download first. I'm dumb. So I don't know how much it's gonna help or how much it's gonna destroy my PC. Right? I'm honestly not too sure. But judging from the post here, nothing's gonna mess with... Nothing is going to mess with like PC privacy or like something that's gonna mess with PC, I believe. So I'm gonna trust that, right? I'm gonna trust it. I'm gonna tweak the user config only. I'm not gonna do the rest of the things, right? So go with the archive. These are the files? That looks weird. Let me check. Almost done, almost done. So data. Oh my god, it's true. Look at the data files. Oh my god, it's actually this wild data. Okay. Just extract it directly there, right? Yep, okay. This one, copy, hiya, here. It's probably gonna replace it. No, it's something new, okay. And we good. That's the mod. So it only works with BO1 Tactical Armor and Helmet. Only works with first body type Brownie. I don't have cape removal mod, but I think currently the mod is fine, I think. Probably. I want to close Google as well because I think this game is also very intensive, just like Monster Hunter Wilds. So I want to close Google entirely so that I can play Helldivers 2 hopefully without too much issue. Alright. Let's hope this works. Let's close everything, including closed caption. And close this. Okay, there we go. Now we spread democracy. I probably should close Bongo Cat. Do I want to keep Bongo Cat? I like Bongo Cat. You know what? I'm closing it. I know. Okay, I have it on 15 FPS. Yeah, 15 FPS. I'm gonna quit it. It's fine. Voice mod. It's there. Fish is there. Close this one. No using it. And I think that should be fine. Yeah, I hope. Alright, let's try. Pray that it doesn't crash my game immediately. Because if it does, I have the default setting, so it's fine. Oh, they have game guard. I wonder if it's gonna work. Game guard might ban me from playing this game if I use mods, I think. I hope so. I'm sorry, I hope not. It's not that I hope so. I hope not. Alright. Democracy. You get Eagle Ray. Of course. I'm not surprised. The mods that deal too much with something wrong with this game. Reporting is error. Send a report. About error report. Only clear. No. What's the situation? What made this happen? Attached screenshot? What screenshot do I have? Crash report. Empty. Brother. So I guess that is dangerous. Okay, I'm gonna say don't report. Here's one more thing I can try. Before I revert to default, so that everything will be for naught, right? Democracy fish? What would the democracy fish be? Like this one, and then app data, roaming, arrowhead. Now there is 2, user config. I'll make it to not read only. How about that? I think Game Guard detected something sus. And Game Guard might have detected something sus. Which it's not sus at all. It's just I'm just trying to gain performance. Let's hope this works. Oh. Yeah, it's dead. Okay, don't report this. It's okay. It's okay. Nothing to it. That's why we have backup, right? I guess we only have protogen. It's alright. Let's go to... Ooh, wait. Gonna go back again. User 1, 2, 3. Ayoyo. App data. Roaming. Arrowhead. Yeah, there was 2. Copy this one. Bam. Replace. There we go. Now everything should be back to normal. This is the default that it has. So if the game still crashes, it could be the protogen mod and they send something extra. And if that's the case, then oof. I mean, I have ways to uninstall the mods, so if it still crashes, even though I have the user setting config back to normal, then I guess I have to uninstall the protogen mod as well. Unfortunate. I was hoping that I can spread democracy with protogen. Oh, I think it works now. Maybe. Nope, it crashed. No, really? No mods allowed? No fun allowed? Man. Actually, no fun allowed. Jeez. Fine. Okay. Understand that there's like this many things inside, and then one of them or three of them is the protogen mod. But to fix that, you can just replace this, copy it again, replace it so that it shows where the files are, you know, and then you can just delete them. Yeah. Fine, no fun allowed, jeez. Man, so strict. Cannot believe it. If this still breaks, I'm not so sure what to do because I already reverted everything to normal. I'm a little bit scared to be honest, but hey, it is what it is. If the game doesn't work, I have to verify integrity of files, which means that I will not be able to play this game today. But we'll see, we'll see. Everything should be fine. Everything should be back to normal. Oh, oops, sorry. Yeah, it's back to normal. So I just need to open up this one. Okay. Sorry about the screen flashes. Now just gonna wait for the game to load. There it is. Gosh, no, actually no fun allowed. Cannot believe it.
Super Earth.
Super Earth.
Our home. Prosperity. Liberty. Hi there. Democracy.
Democracy.
Our way of life. Oh, hello.
Hello.
But freedom doesn't come free.
No.
Sweet liberty! No! Look familiar? Scenes like these are happening all over the galaxy right now. You could be next.
You could
That
be
is,
next.
Unless you make the most important decision of your life. Prove to yourself that you have the strength and the courage to be free.
This is actually pretty cool. And then the graphic immediately drops. Major order completed. I got 50. I got 50 medals. Oh my goodness. Game looks good, don't it? Display. Okay. Actually, I want this one to be weak. Screen device, ultra performance. Yep. I want borderless window. Yes, I like that. I like that. Frame rate limit, yes, 60. Very nice. No VSync because holy hell, it's gonna destroy everything. No nothing. Everything is set to the lowest possible. No sharpness. Ultra performance. Audio looks good, I think. Yeah, everything looks good. Let's try to go for a few missions. So I played a little bit with Merp 2 days ago, I think. Yeah, 2 days ago. I unlocked a bunch of stuff, which is very nice. Right, I have more medals again. I didn't buy any of these, to be honest. Because I feel like I would rather buy other things. Like guns and super credits and the more important stuff, right? But now I need to spend 41 more medals to unlock. Oh. Guess I'm buying these. Spend how much more? 28 more. Okay, so if I buy this helmet and I buy this and we unlock the next thing. Heck yeah. Marksman rifle. Diligence counter sniper. Ah, sniper. Stamina enhancement. I'm not gonna use this marksman rifle. I'm gonna get the super credit instead. Alright, we're keeping this for now. And we're gonna go and distort. Oh yeah, I got a new gun when I was playing with Merp. I got this new Dipolator Penetrator. It has medium armor penetrating, which is really fucking strong. Because all the guns here only has light armor penetrating. Even shotgun only has light armor penetrating. So, I mean, this one has medium armor penetrating, but holy hell is it slow. So I think this is really strong. And secondary is still the same. I have the standard throwable. I would want to have this actually. Small area. Large area. Detonates on first impact. Outer radius 7. 10. Oh, it's same as this one. I'll use this one. The standard one. So game says no fun allowed. I cannot be a protogen. I don't know if there's a way to.
The super destroyer is ready for your next mission.
I don't know if there's any way for me to bypass the game guard. Since I haven't played it for a while, let's start with medium first. No, let's not be too ambitious. Operation status. Oh wait, this is automaton. I don't want this.
Freedom of the galaxy remains in jeopardy. Let us join the fight.
Success. I still want to kill bugs. I don't want to kill automatons. They're so scary. Enemy resistance average low. Average. I could do a bit of average, yeah.
Look at this disgusting infestation. Deploy to the planet and expunge it.
Oh, this is other teams, right? Yeah, that's other team. Are there any other missions? Like, these are all other teams. Guess we can do this. Purge hatcheries and launch ICBM. Prepare and launch the local ICBM. What the heck is an ICBM? It's medium. I don't think it's gonna be too hard. Alright, let's do this one.
FTL jump to the adherence system.
We're gonna go kill bugs. Spread democracy. I'm level 12.
Successful. Mission coordinates locked. Hellpods primed.
Hellpods primed. Destroy. Oh, this is technical objective. So this is sub-objective, retrieve launch code, and then extraction zone is here. If I start here, goes in like this, and clear it the way like this. Nice! Alright, we start here. Okay, I'm playing solo. Mortar Sentry. Recoilless and a 380 barrage. Or do I get orbital precision strike? I like big explosions. Helipod space optimization. Camera helipod fully stocked on ammo, grenades, and stims. Provides minor damage reduction for all sources for all Helldivers. This is really nice. Okay, let's give it a try.
Helipod launch initiated.
Helipod launch initiated. Going in. Gonna spread the more crystal. Spending at least 2.4 seconds per mission enjoying the scenery, a happy Helldiver is a deadly Helldiver. Yeah, true. 2.4 seconds. Here we go. I actually cannot see anything. Very cool.
Go now, Helldiver. Let our enemies take no step that is not hindered by the corpse of their comrade.
Is this Spore nearby?
Sending down sentry.
Is that the Spore? Yep, that's the Spore.
Terminate hive structure destroyed.
Lucky. Fish Helldiver 64? Hell yeah. Okay, on map, we're gonna go this way. Spore Spewer is already dead. Here's like a big thing. Alright, going in. I guess I can start for 380 He barrage. Good run. Dive throw.
Firing orbital barrage. Clear the area.
Mortar Sentry.
Deploying sentry. Terminate outpost purged.
Oh, nice. Yo, Mortar Sentry. Let's go. Boom. Where's shooting then? Oh, there's something behind. Oh god. Okay. So my sentries are doing their job like really well. Holy shit. Going in. Can I have flashlight? Okay, that's nice. What is this? Anti-material rifle? What the hell is that? Yeah, I think this one is gone. Okay, so now we go for this one. I like sentries. What is that? I don't remember anything anymore.
Objective nearby.
Destroy all facility buildings?
Objective critical stratagem available.
Hell bomb?
Hell bomb request approved. Deploying now.
That thing is angry. Alright. I know what Hell Bomb is, so...
Hell bomb armed! Clear the area!
Run! Do a flip! Ooh.
Objective complete.
Hunters?
Freedom forever! Mag's empty!
See if things there. Resupply, machine gun sentry, drop it down. Oh, it's just that one.
Down sentry.
How about a nice cup? Oh.
Are you the thing? Oh, it's already gone. Shit. Okay. And then we have this
Dropping
thing.
a pin.
I'm blocking the map, but shouldn't be too big of a problem, I hope. Should get a health supply. Should get a resupply when I reach there. Something. Something. Granada. Any samples here? Nice.
Sub-objective in your vicinity. Deploying equipment package. Deploying sentry.
Fire in the hole.
That's a really nice troll. Holy shit. Get him! Yeah! Sentry! Okay, this place should be safe now.
Mission is progressing.
Very nice, we got the launch codes. Now we can... We got supplies, this is the launch. This is the launch ICPM, okay. Mortal Century is so good. Alright, I'm running. Oh.
There's something here.
Find a place of interest.
Deploying sentry.
Have a taste of democracy.
Hell yeah, democracy. What's this? Expendable anti-tank, get ammo, grenade, sample. Don't shoot me.
Main objective near your position.
What the fuck? The particles are so bad that I cannot see anything.
Mag's empty. Mag's empty.
Yikes.
Sending down sentry.
Mag's empty.
Do your thing!
Mission at 30 minutes remaining.
Did it get destroyed? Man, it got destroyed.
How'd you like the taste of freedom?
Freedom! Very nice, very nice. Is this the thing?
Mag's empty.
Hey. I think that thing is dead. Hi, Evie. This must be the thing. Did you not do it?
Freedom forever.
Sending down sentry.
Out of ammo. That's called democracy.
Deploying equipment package.
What? It should be here. There's multiple question mark as well. Also hope you're doing good, Evie. Heck yeah.
I found something.
Oh.
Deploying sentry.
Input launch code 5, 6, 8, 4, 7.
Never destroy our way of life.
Manually raise silo locks. Something is happening. Oh yeah. Oh, tremor.
Sending down sentry.
I just hope the sentry doesn't kill me. That should do. ICBN raising into launch position. Okay. Oh, wait, I'm blocking everything. Okay, I'm gonna switch the... Give me a second. This one, gonna put it back to the middle. This one, I'm gonna put it back to bottom left. There, so that I'm not blocking too much. Yeah, my health is visible. Good. Map is kind of visible.
Deploying sentry.
I feel so safe. I have so many sentries around me. Use terminal to lock the target coordinates. Missile fueling in progress. Huh. Okay. There's no enemies. Wow. Initiate launch.
Another
Whee!
triumph for managed democracy. May liberty guide your safe extraction.
Where did it go? Oh? I don't see anymore. I guess that's good. Oh. I mean, if my PC can handle it, I'm sure. Holy! Yeah, I mean that would have been cool if my PC can handle it. Bucks. Okay, we can extract now. But I kinda want something more. Hi Brain. If it's still going in like an hour I can join in. Oh heck yeah. I think I should be, yeah. I mean I'm gonna leave at about 5 PM. Oh reader. Who are you playing with alone? It's 3. I can play for about 2.5 hours about. Also let me reply. Oh my god. Who are you playing with? Currently alone. Figuring out game. Smile. 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 Ooh. I'm doing Monster Hunter Wilds with my sis, so after that I can join. Oh, nice. Enjoy Monster Hunter Wilds. Is this the point of interest?
Extraction is available.
Oh, it is. Bullet. The railgun. This is another point of interest? Yep. Okay, so... Many bullet. Grenade. And then there's another one here. It'd be great if I can see something. Liberty!
Deploying sentry.
I Okay. Point of interest, point of interest. Wee. Machine gun? Expendable anti-tank.
Extraction when ready. Mission at 20 minutes remaining.
There's more question mark. Oi!
Found something!
Samples. Flamethrower.
Found something!
Found what? What did I find? Oh, this? There's so many things here though.
There's something here.
More? Ooh. One is scared. Dogu Rex, hi. Welcome. Here, let me get a sentry to save me. Welcome, the Raiders. Oh my god, what were you playing? Monster Hunter Wilds, heck yeah! I cannot wait for the title update, and I can spend so many times with the game.
Oh, burrito!
Hopefully Monster Hunter Wilds is fun. Heck yeah! Was learning to play bow in Monhan. Oh hell yeah, bow is fun.
Get some!
Bow in Wilds is very satisfying. I like bow. Especially when you have the pierced cotton. Yeah, it's so good. Also, welcome in Raiders. I'm Tiara. I'm a kobold. I play a bunch of games. I love fighting games. I love dragons to bits, and I do art sometimes. Yeah. Machine gun. Got another. It's very interesting. I'm trying to get the feel for it more. Heck yeah. Yeah, bow is super fun. Like I never play ranged weapons in Monster Hunter. Bow is the only ranged weapon that I play. I play pretty much all weapons other than light bow gun and heavy bow gun. So I just think melee weapons are really fun. But I'm glad you're enjoying Monster Hunter Wilds.
There's something here.
There's so many things here. What the heck? Don't think there's anything more. What the?
Tagging map.
Is it that way? Holy. Let me get my big boy out.
Firing orbital barrage, clear the area.
Oh no.
Sending down sentry.
I guess I messed with the wrong thing, huh?
Bag's empty.
Trying to learn all the weapons a bit. Think it'll be fun to just mix things up? Yeah, exactly. Okay, should be safe now. I'm going there and check.
Bug hive spotted.
Oh shit. I cannot see shit. Brother, where's the bug hive? Must be over this. Oh my god.
Deploying sentry.
Oh. Oh, that's the bug hive. All right, don't shoot me. I'm on the ground. Ow.
Throwing grenade.
Oh my god, how many? Throwing in. I'm so good. The fog is ridiculous sometimes. Yeah, especially it's not exactly friendly for a PC, for my PC, since my PC is kind of weak. 10 minutes left. I should extract. Going in, going out. Uh oh, hunters.
Have a taste of democracy. Get some. Get some.
Get some freedom.
Deploying sentry. You may proceed to extraction when ready.
All right, I'm going out of here.
Deploying sentry.
I'm getting out of here.
Found something.
Hmm? Shiny? Oh. Super credit? Oh my god, lucky. I'm gonna get some cooking done, so I'll be lurking and listening. Appreciate it. Thanks for the raid again. Have fun cooking. I think medium is like a good warm-up.
Fire in the hole.
Wee.
Deploying sentry. Mission at 10 minutes remaining. Deploying equipment package.
That's extra.
Extraction shuttle inbound.
Bag's empty. How'd you like the taste of freedom?
Freedom. I hear them.
ETA T-minus 1 minute 30 seconds.
Yes, no! Yes, no! Bag's empty.
I love the orbital barrage.
ETA T-minus 1 minute. Deploying sentry. ETA T-minus 30 seconds.
I keep hearing things though.
ETA T-minus 20 seconds. ETA T-minus 10 seconds.
Ooh.
How'd you like
Ooh.
the taste of freedom? Pelican 1 approaching pickup.
Hell yeah, mortar! Kill him!
1 preparing for touchdown.
Save me!
Extraction complete. Pelican 1 beginning ascent.
I feel like
Liberty has seen you through.
my current gear is too strong for medium. But it's a good warm-up, you know, like for the rhythm game thing. I like that. Oh, I only destroyed one outpost? Oh, I'm still outstanding. Outstanding patriotism. I'm the best. Oh my god. Outstanding patriotism. Yeah. Outstanding patriotism. Why am I typing Chinese? What the hell? Okay. Okay.
A triumphant return.
No blood on me, I'm so good. Why is it so windy?
Helldiver, stomp any bugs lately? There's no day-night cycle on board these ships. Highlight.
No need to worry. Super Earth has your best interests at heart.
Smoke strike? Oh, block enemy line of sight. 110 rocket pods. Explosive Eagle anti-tank. 500 kg bomb? Whee! I like that, I like that. Orbital gas strike? EMS strike? Smoke strike? A heavy machine gun emplacement. Shield generator relay. Ooh. Tesla tower. To avoid friendly fire, remain prone. I have this one, Incendiary Mines. I like this one so much. Armored infantry. Against vehicle armor or fortified buildings. Oh, shield. Protecting against small arm fire. You can be a tank. That's kinda cool. Returns to backpack to rearm. Oh, requires a backpack, so I cannot use recoilless rifle anymore? I guess I could get this one, and then I could use expendable anti-tank. Because expendable anti-tank doesn't need me to, yeah, I don't need backpack for this, it's just a one shot, and then that's it. I could try this one. It's only 17-second cooldown as well, so I like a good guard dog. Like, yeah. Cooldown 480 seconds, it's fine. Alright, now we have cover. We have one more mission, let's do it. We're gonna destroy egg.
Coordinates locked. Hellpods primed.
Hellpods primed.
Engaging orbital thrusters.
Orbital thrusters. My capes are going over the place.
Orbit synchronized.
Oh, here. I guess we start from here and then just do like a U-turn. I can definitely do that. Let's do a U-turn. So I like this one. Expendable anti-tank. Let's get... I'm gonna get 2 sentries. I'm not gonna get like these things. I mean, these are fun. But I feel like I would much rather have... Oh! Oh! Metal? Thank you, metal. Whoa, okay, that's up. What happened? What happened? Did you misclick or something? The name? Emprick? Emprick? I assume it's something bad, but I don't know what that means though. Uh-oh. But thank you, Metal. Thank you. Also, welcome in metal. Okay, I'm gonna assume that actually means something bad. I don't think I want to search it up. Maybe not. Guard dog, machine gun sentry, and mortar sentry. We get this. Oh, dragon! Maybe not bad, certainly nothing. Oh! Dragon of Time raid? Heck yeah! Hi, dragon! How was Ocarina of Time? Hi, Jake. Why is Ixon getting bonked? How was Ocarina of Time, Dragon? It's so good, I see why people love it. Oh, heck yeah. I never really play Zelda games myself, but hey, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Also, welcome in Raiders. I'm Tiara, I'm a kobold. I play a bunch of games. I love fighting games. I love dragons to bits. And I do art sometimes. I will not elaborate. I felt the urge to bonk. I bonk. You know what? Kobold behavior. I approve. I like it. Sometimes I felt the urge to chomp. I chomp. Also, if you need any post-stream care, Ixon, definitely go do them. Get some food, get some rest, get some drink. Heck yeah. And then here I'm trying to spread democracy.
Let our enemies choke upon their territorial ambitions.
Sending down equipment package.
I'm guard dog. I can just get an expendable anti-tank right now.
Deploying support weapon.
Oh, there's two. I'm just saying if I want to snooze or actually stay up all night. Democracy. Anti legs. Ooh. Here's something.
I found something.
I found something. Something shiny is over there.
There's something here.
Sending down sentry.
Super credit? Heck yeah. She's asleep? Oh. EP legs. I was asleep too. I kind of overslept this morning. Oh, this afternoon. Alright, now's a chance. We're gonna go destroy the hive.
Sending down sentry.
Log hive spotted. Prepare to exterminate.
Oh.
For prosperity.
I need resupply.
Deploying equipment package.
Oh damn, those are some certainly some VFX. Yeah, certainly some. Oh, you. Ow. Got him. Now we keep going up here.
Dropping a pin. Sending down sentry. Say hello to democracy!
I tried to mod the fog out, but the game just crashes. The game don't allow me to do that.
Throwing grenade! Freedom forever! Bag's empty! How'd you like the taste of freedom? Bag's empty!
Cannot destroy that? Maybe angle? Okay, angle. I'm going.
Fire in the hole! Last reload!
It's one.
Hive structure destroyed.
We also have things here. Then to destroy hives. Outpost. Is that outpost? No?
Deploying sentry.
Oh, there it is.
Throwing grenade! Sending down equipment package.
Sending equipment package.
Out of ammo!
Get down. Give me resupply.
Sending down sentry.
Tremor and bug breach. Okay.
Have a taste of democracy!
They got destroyed, I think. If only I can see anything, that would be nice. Outpost. Okay, no more outposts here. We can go to this objective. It's fine, it's fine. Go, 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 go. I have a lot of sentry. Should be fine. Why? This is only medium. Ow.
Objective nearby.
Outpost nearby. Oh, give me a second. I don't know if I can reach chat now. Oh, hi, Merc. What's this? Specimen vessel? I cannot bring guard dog if I bring specimen vessel? Fuck it. It's okay.
Sending down sentry.
Outpost. Should be here nearby. No resupply yet.
Mission at 30 minutes remaining.
Oh, is it this thing? Oh, it's a specimen. It's a specimen vessel. I can't join. Invite me for freedom. Oh, wait. What is it? Oh, I have the thing. I think.
Dropping a pin.
Invite to squad. I think that's it. I don't know if we can join midway. Okay, egg here.
Objective near your position. Deploying equipment package.
Going in. Okay, X. A lot of things happening. Be careful, be careful. SCX. Might be a little bit far.
Fire in the hole.
This is fine.
Last reload. Freedom never sleeps.
Oh, I hear Murph.
Wait, clever. You're back.
I'm going for the thing.
Blasting advanced weaponry.
I think I throw the resupply nearby. Oh, that's a little bit awkward. I never seen that happen before.
Calling down a sentry.
Interesting. I don't think I have in-game voice chat going on, but I can hear Merc here.
What injury?
Outpost.
Liberty emerges victorious yet
Did I
again.
miss this?
Extract when ready.
Okay, there should be outposts nearby still, I think. Or is it gone? Oh, it's gone.
Tagging map. Southwest. 50 meters.
Tagging map in southwest. Yeah, I already see the outpost.
Bug hive. Requesting sentry.
Ow. Nice.
Got a sample. Dropping a pin. Northwest. 100 meters. Affirmative.
We have resupply.
Freedom!
Freedom. I hear
Calling
murder.
out supplies.
Oh, that's a spore spewer. Shit.
I'm out.
Is that not the spore spewer? Because I certainly cannot see shit.
An eagle.
It is. Expendable anti-tank cannot do it? Thanks, Murph.
Requesting advanced weaponry.
Oh, now we can see.
I'm out.
Uh-oh. Did I kill you?
Eliminated by Tira.
Location.
What? I didn't do anything. Is it my mortar?
Reinforcing.
I'll cover me.
Ready to liberate.
I didn't do anything, no. Hiya. Okay, the spore spewer is gone. Now we go
Tagging map.
here.
South. 100 meters. Affirmative.
Also, I forgot to set push to talk so that we can talk in game. I'm
You're fine, I hear you on stream.
Oh, okay, that works. A little bit delayed, but it's fine.
A little delayed, but still works.
Yeah.
Bug hive spotted.
Hi. Oi.
Fire in the hole.
Ooh, that's a medium one. Then there's extraction.
Dropping a pin. Southeast. 300 meters.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Okay, there is something here. I'm gonna throw one. We're gonna go to the thing.
Mag's empty.
Ammo.
surprisingly, there's not a single real bad lag or something.
Oh yeah, I played with you the other day. I don't feel much lag, to be honest.
Found something.
It's like I can play the game just fine. I don't see... I don't feel there's like
Found something.
a heavy lag going on. And then there's not even like a... There's not even like disconnection going on. I think that's pretty good.
Loot!
Look. My sentry got him.
Requesting sentry.
Sending down sentry.
Oh my god, look. Steal the things. It's question mark.
Extraction is available.
Found something.
Loot maybe? Ah yeah. I got killed by Merp.
That was my guard dog drone, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Calling in reinforcements.
No big deal, it's okay.
Request approved. Reinforcements have been launched.
I'm coming in.
Reporting to the front.
Gonna get my specimen container.
I got that already.
Yeah. Okay. I need to retag. Hiya.
Tagging map. Southeast. 200 meters.
Tagging map.
Affirmative.
Bug breach detected. What the? Where the fuck is the bug breach?
Calling down a sentry.
Deploying sentry.
Going in. I guess the next one we can do challenging. Challenging mission is like I think more intense and fun. Without being too difficult. Hi Brekkie. Yeah, boop Brekkie. One? Hiya.
Throwing grenade.
And now we can... I'm pretty sure we can extract now, yeah.
Dropping a pin. Northeast. 100 meters.
I think we destroy all the outposts, so extraction wouldn't be that difficult.
Dropping a pin. North.
Isn't something blue on the map? Is that a side mission?
I should have it already. It's the larva that's behind me. It
I
should,
see.
yeah, it should be the specimen container. I don't know why it didn't like register. Oop, Evie, hi Swift.
Requesting sentry.
Sentry.
Calling in
Requesting
extraction.
sentry. Calling down a sentry.
Extraction request confirmed. Shuttle inbound.
We can have a resupply here.
Throwing supply beacon.
New man.
Dang.
Mortars are so good.
Yeah, the mortar sentry is like the best. It's just cleaning everything. I love that. I have casual salute. I feel so safe. How do I know?
Requesting sentry.
ETA T-minus 30 seconds. ETA T-minus 20 seconds. ETA T-minus 10 seconds.
The spin. We're becoming crocodile.
Pelican 1 arriving at coordinates.
The smooch.
This is Pelican 1 preparing for touchdown.
This is how kobolds smooch. Don't question it. Ow. I killed by impact? I got killed by impact?
I think the chopper landed on you.
Oh, fuck. No way. That's so stupid.
Point me to the enemy.
Specimen container. Alright, we good.
Countdown initiated. Extraction complete. Pelican 1 beginning
Another
assembly.
victory for democracy.
Democracy.
Another victory for the right side of history.
I like democracy. Well, I don't know if I like democracy, but I like explosions. Can I democracy for dragons instead? I think that'll be much better. Outstanding patriotism. Dragon democracy? Dragmocracy? Dragmocracy? I like dragon. I want
The
dragmocracy.
text to speech button, I think, is caps lock.
Caps lock? I caps locked it.
No, not text to speech, but push to talk.
Oh, I have to push caps lock to talk? Wow, that's wild. I want to see if I can change a button to it. Oh, we can just join the Discord call. Why not? Let me go to my Discord real quick. And I think Breen
Yep.
should be joining as well.
Killed, lots of samples collected. That's
Let me lower the game sound to 5. Push to talk. Let me see. Mouse and keyboard. Change bindings. Push to talk is communication. Hold caps lock. You're right. Holy shit. Let's see. I'm gonna join my own server voice chat. You can join either general or gaming, and then I can pull you into like a Discord chat. Oh,
Meh,
it's the secret chat. Oh my god.
I'm so secret.
Oh, Merp's facing the wrong way.
Freedom, bitch!
Freedom by looking at the wrong way. Heck yeah. There we go.
I'm looking at your belly button.
Nice. There we go. Okay, I'm ready. I guess we can try to do challenging.
I hope.
Innocents perish with every wasted second. We must act.
I wanna kill more bugs.
A bugs.
Kill
We must
bug.
dare free our galaxy from the affliction of bug and bot alike.
I got the super citizen thingy yesterday because I love this game so much.
Super citizen?
This super special edition.
Oh. You got room for a legless lassie? Of course. Get in here, Brina.
Choose where to join your fellows in righteous liberation.
Social. Friend. Invite. To squad. You can invite me, I can't join. I just realized that. Also, if you want to join the Discord call, only if you want to, you can join either general or gaming. I can pull you into the super secret chat. Will do. Then I can yell at Merp for rat murder. Merp, what did you do?
What?
Did Merp kill rat?
I killed all the rats.
Oh no. Breen's gonna yell at you.
But there were too many and they ate all my food.
Uh-oh. The Breen is here. Why is Breen's a repo?
You
Oh
shouldn't
my
have
god.
summoned them into a cobalt lair.
Is it just me or can I not hear Breen? Unless
I
Breen is
can
not.
hear Breen.
You can? I cannot. Oh, why is Breen at 0%? What the hell?
Okay, that's on you then.
Yeah, that's on me. Breen, talk to me, Breen.
Don't kick me.
Okay, I hear it.
How you doing? How you enjoying Helldivers 2? And hello, Mert, for the
I
first
love
time
it.
saying hi.
I love explosion.
Hug.
How
How about
I bought it
this
2
one?
days ago, and I love it.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I know this one.
It's good though. It's very good. They've done so much good stuff with it, especially with the Illuminate out now. I was very happy to have picked it up
Yeah.
at launch. Very much worth it.
What do you put in?
I picked it up 2 days ago, but I already had a lot of different kinds of reactions in my chat. The one half was
for
like,
sure.
yeah, democracy, fuck yeah. And the other one was like, the Helldivers 2 devs suck enormous gorilla ding dong.
What? No, they've done really good stuff though. I don't know. Like they've made goofs, but they fixed them.
Yeah, I mean, like, for a newcomer like me, I don't know how bad it was before, so I just enjoy the game and have fun.
Yeah, no, they had a big rough chunk, and then they did like this whole like 90-day adjustment to it, and after that they've kind of really made the game go from like kind of less fun to a lot better. Like everything is so much more good. Like if you like the Gatling orbital barrage, you're lucky because it was not good before, but it is now a lot more fun to use and just
Yay!
more. So.
Well, I like it so far. I love it so much that I yesterday bought the Super Citizen upgrade.
Yes, there you go. See, Super Citizen. That's what I was saying. Like they kind of deserve that support in my opinion, because the devs, Arrowhead, they do a lot of good work. They don't do try.
Super Citizen is like a
Tira,
DLC?
Tira, get the comfy pod.
I get the comfy pot.
The Lux Pod.
Yeah, on the far right, it's the comfy pod.
I like the comfy pot.
I tested them all out, and the right one is the comfiest.
Ooh, and there's so many places.
Why don't
many
we
places.
go like maybe here?
Yeah, I feel like
And then
from
kind of scope down,
right
I
from
think, or yeah,
from
up here
here.
maybe. We can
Yeah.
we can go up here and then kind of split, and then that way.
I was thinking
How do I
here
drop?
and then like and then do it and then go to the extraction.
Yeah, because we'll go here, get this, and then go like around this direction.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll put it down here then.
Bugs. I haven't played in a while.
It's okay. I believe
I
in
bring additional ammo.
Merp is
anyone
already
want-
higher level than me.
Merp
I
loves
played-
democracy.
I played I streamed 7.5 hours yesterday.
Heck
On my
yeah.
birthday, I literally ended up streaming, I think, I did like 2 hours of other game, and then I streamed, I think, like 12 hours of Rise, or no, sorry, with Wilds, with my sister and like friends. It was just insane. I'm like, oh wow, that went a little longer than your girl expected.
It's
I mean,
wild.
Helldivers is a lot more fun than Monster Hunter Wilds, to be honest.
They both have their moments.
Yeah, the
I
thing
love
is, Monster
fun.
Hunter Wilds just doesn't work. It crashed 72 times on me.
That is
I
insane. I
counted.
think I've had one crash at most.
I
That
had
is-
72 crashes on an Xbox Series X.
I kept watching your streams and seeing the number go up, and I was like, wow, that is
Whoa.
Yeah, I
that
counted
is
it.
insane. That is insane. Alright, sorry, let me choose my fucking.
Am I not ready?
No,
Oh,
sorry, it's me. I'm
yeah,
still
I am.
picking up my stuff. Sorry.
Okay. And even when it was working, I enjoy Helldivers far more for some reason.
For sure.
Hey.
No, they're both wonderful games.
Yeah, it's
I think I was just playing
explosions.
with my sister, and I was using heavy bowgun, and she used light bowgun. So it was just two idiots shooting at monsters with various guns. It was literally Helldivers.
Helldivers, but
It's
as a boss
Counter-Strike.
fight.
Also, I tried out Repo yesterday. I played for 1.5 hours and I got scared shitless. I want to play more.
Hell yeah! I'm sorry that I wasn't there to join because I would love to. Because Repo. Oh wait, I'm still have my Repo.
Yeah, you do. I like it.
reactive up. Ashley made that for me in like 20 minutes because she's insane.
Oh my god. Bring
Look like a hamburger.
something's
I have
behind.
no legs, just like real life.
Something's
Yeah,
behind.
just like hamburgers.
Yeah. But just like a bicycle, I don't forget how to kill bugs.
Yeah,
kill.
for some reason, since I play Helldivers, I seem to have reignited the love for the game for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Everyone in chat was like, "Oh, I gotta re-download this."
It's nice.
Alright, who wants to get in the warthog?
Warthog.
Car.
I love guns, especially guns on wheels. If it was now a shotgun, ow, fuck!
I'm sorry.
Sweet liberty.
Sorry.
For liberty.
I love that it just launches you. Like there are no seatbelts in the future.
Why is there bug
Fuck
music?
seatbelts.
Ooh, hellbomb.
Seatbelts are a symbol of restraint, but we live in a democracy.
They're a symbol of oppression.
Exactly.
Hellboom? Hellboom?
Let's blast this place.
Like,
Oh, this is a new setup. I've never seen this lab like underground like that before.
The car's rolling.
It's okay. I
You-
believe in Merc.
Oh, let me, I didn't set the parking brake. Hold on.
I setting the hell bomb. I like hell
I'm
bomb.
rolling backwards.
Wait, hold on. There's no park. What's the parking brake? All right, there you go.
We don't break.
We don't brake.
Terminal.
We don't
Arming-
brake for
Arming hell
oppression.
boom.
Exactly. We're always on the move. Freedom never sleeps.
Run.
freedom never see. I love when you use stims. You're at max health. You have like different reactions to it.
Like what injury?
Injury?
Just a little,
What
pick me
injury?
up. We got there's a hive down here we can go get.
Someone in my chat yesterday told me a weird story about some people really.
Whoa.
Oh,
Oh.
I'm s-
The car is fine. I think. I'm getting out.
Alright, I'm not bringing the car again.
Get
Sorry, I was
liberty.
trying. They made it better, but also
Calling down a sentry.
we
We're,
got stalkers.
we're bucks.
Anyway, what I was saying was, some people said to me like, oh, there were a lot of people on Twitter saying, oh, you don't really fight for the good guys in this game. It's a bad game, and people are yelling, liberty, blah blah blah.
That's half the fun,
And
though.
I-
Like, I
Yeah, and
I
I'm
know
like,
what we're
isn't that
fighting
like
against.
role playing? Why do you take it so
Yeah.
seriously?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care.
It's-
I have explosions.
It's literally a parody of that exact thing, and that's why it's so much fun.
Yeah, people take it too seriously sometimes.
Yeah, it's like
I
that's like
know,
people that
right?
watch Starship Troopers and think that it's legit.
Yes, look at this.
Destroy.
A payload of liberty.
Did I bring my... I brought my 380 grenade barrage.
Ooh.
The big boy.
Ow, ow, ow.
I haven't played since they started. They had like the gloom enemies, so I don't know what those are. But I don't know if y'all know what those are either. So
I have no
there's
idea.
been a lot of new things.
Oh, is it the zombos?
No,
Oh, yeah, the
those
purple
are
zombie enemies.
No, those are the,
They're
those are the
great.
vote. They're the voteless.
Requesting
They don't have
sentry.
votes.
Because they can't vote anymore.
Yeah. And I also love that. Like, if that doesn't let you know that the game is a parody, I don't know what's wrong with you. If you don't know that the voteless are a parody, then
My
I
character.
don't understand
sorry.
why people are taking things too seriously in the last couple years. It takes it's so weird. It
it's a
increases.
US thing. We've had a really rough, like 10 years, and it's getting worse. Working on it. I'm sorry.
Wait,
Ah. Oh no, the earth is rumbly grumbly.
As a trans person in the US, it's a rough time.
yeah, definitely.
Oh, I believe you.
But how about we just kill?
Bugs! Kill them!
I got licked.
Do you two want to go after that objective? I'm gonna go try and find that stalker hive. That's driving me nuts.
Oh,
Alright,
my screen
I
is
die.
retrieve the
all.
launch codes.
My screen
When I
is all
die,
yellow.
remember
Launching.
me.
Freedom!
I really do wish that when you when the ICBM went off, it would make your capes fly away as well.
Apes?
Our capes, like it doesn't really add any like physics to our capes.
Oh. I would love to see like the capes just like go ape shit.
Yeah. You know, I saw people say that we should remove capes, and I was like, what are you, anti-democratic?
Oh,
Yeah,
do you
right.
hate
The
dem-
capes
do you
make
hate
you a real
democracy?
helldiver.
yeah, I
Yeah,
want
you don't have a
cape.
cape. Yeah, you're not a Helldiver until you have the cape at the end of the tutorial.
Yeah. And it's like the coolest,
like
coolest
that.
thing ever.
There's this red carpet with the statues leading up to the cape.
Yeah, the intro is so good, and I mean, hey, all right, I think the three of us, who got killed by the turrets at the start?
Me, because I misunderstood something.
I didn't.
I died.
It said, yeah, just press this button and dive in. And I dove, and I was like, oh, I need to go a little further in before I do that,
Yeah,
and that's when the turrets kill me.
Yeah, no, I was like, wait, and then I walked in there. I was like, uh-oh, and I died.
Uh-oh.
Tagging map.
We go up here.
200
Eradicate those bugs.
Yeah, go up there. I haven't found the stalkers yet. I don't know where they are, so I'm gonna kind of meet up with you again. I thought I knew where they were.
I think we're nearby.
Okay.
Look what I found. Killer, watch.
Found something.
Shovel.
Ooh. I'm dying.
I found a point of interest. Still not sure what interest stuff that is.
My legs. My legs.
Enjoy your fentanyl.
Oh, why is your stim causes me to have yellow vision?
All of our that's the thing that I brought. It makes our stim. It gives you faster sprint speed and
Oh.
damage reduction while it's active. So
Adrenaline.
no, amphetamines.
Amphetamine?
Yeah, meth.
Requesting
Meth.
support.
Yes, drugs basically. Freedom drugs.
Oh, freedom drugs. Yeah. And after I saw the writing on the floor, oh, I was messing around at the game. I was pressing like random buttons, and then I just sort of dodged it completely, like very cool. But it was all an accident.
Get them
Yes.
samples.
Itchy.
I found an entrenchment tool.
Sentry.
Fuck you, bugs! Oh God, no!
Careful,
What-
don't get
what
shot by
happened?
sentry. I'm getting prone. I'm proning because I'm scared. What is that?
Ow!
No!
I was killed by Merp.
No.
Was that my? Where's that my guard dog?
Possibly.
Why is there suddenly 10,000 things?
I wish that this game kind of encouraged like team. I guess I don't know how they would encourage team reloads more, because in the first game you were all forced in the same screen, so team reloads were like almost a must.
Oh. Is there a charger?
Oh!
Reload. Hey.
Hey. Wait.
Hey.
Yeah.
Revive us.
Marking location.
I'm not marking location.
Dead.
Wee.
Help.
Wee. Prone.
Is that a mermaid?
Stim.
Yeah, that's me.
Merpington the Kobold Dington.
I'm surviving, I think.
I think that's Merp's full legal name, if I remember correctly.
Merp's legal name?
Merptington of Merpledy Merple Schmerpelderp.
Yeah.
Help, I
Or
cannot
something
remember.
like that.
Hi, Strikeable.
Thank you!
I think we need resupply.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's
go
ammo.
for it.
I want
Oh, yeah, little
steam.
nice
There's
things
ammo
about,
right
like,
next to you.
Oh, nice. I
but
have
also
ammo
like health
now.
and stuff too.
I want grenade and steam.
That too.
I got the thing. Supplies here.
Whoa!
Whoa! Careful, Merp!
Uh-oh.
Oh!
Okay, well Merp
Merp flew away.
Rip.
Sweet liberty!
Recoilless. Sorry, Breen.
You're good. I was setting myself on fire a little bit. Ow.
Reinforcing Merp.
I'm back, fuckers!
Get him.
I'm back. Again!
Freedom never dies.
Freedom
The
never
freedom
sleeps.
never sleeps!
Freedom never
Alright.
sleep.
I'm gonna go grab those samples left behind if you want to go get that hive.
I'll follow you. I'm bringing in
Box.
Sentry.
There's a sample container here.
Requesting sentry.
Ooh.
Sentry coming in. Careful.
I'm gonna go grab it.
Okay.
Calling down a sentry.
That's actually what I was aiming for, was to go grab that.
Oh,
How'd you like the taste of
Careful.
freedom?
I set down mortar.
I got it.
Alright, let's go.
Last thing here.
North, 100 meters.
See, let's break this bitch.
Dive.
Dive into hell. Like some sort of hell diver.
Hell diver. Ooh.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out,
Okay.
Whoa!
watch out. I'm so close, you're so lucky.
I dived. I dived. Destroy the bug
Always
hives.
stay behind the flamethrower. Rule number
Yeah,
one.
I'm flying.
Look, at fire is not friendly.
That's why I stay behind you. For prosperity, motherfuckers!
Feels good. Ow, 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 my stankles.
Someone's in pain. I hear someone on fire.
That was me.
Last reload. I love the voice acting
I
in this
give you
game.
supplies.
Apply.
Yeah, no, the voice acting is super good. I've seen people say, so we've already talked about how people are annoying about stupid stuff, but like, they're like, for Super Earth, I hate that. Like, what do you mean you hate the characters yelling about everything? That is
That
so
is-
much fun.
About what they're
Yeah.
fighting for.
Yeah,
Then it's so passionate. I love it. The
Yeah,
word.
it also,
like-
Add-
it also gives
Oh,
a lot of cues to how your team is
wait.
doing. Like, for example, you said last reload! And I was like, oh, so you need ammo.
yeah. So like, I was low on one of my weapons of some sort.
I'm following Breen.
No, you
I'm
go ahead. I'm sorry, I
following
just-
Myself.
Sentry.
Okay,
sorry,
I'll
I heard one
follow
of
him.
these. Yeah, no, follow Merp. Sorry, I knew where I was going. I heard one of these. I heard in the distance one of those boops, and that's one of those little pods with extra medals or sometimes super credits.
Super credit.
Wait, does that hydrant launch you in the air? Oh fuck!
Oh. I cannot
gonna
see
try that. I was
anything
literally
actually. If you look at my stream, I can hardly see anything other than something.
Oh my god, it's one of those kaleidoscope thingies.
As long as you're having fun though playing, that's the important part.
I am-
and
I
sorry
am
you can't
having
have the
so much
full
fun.
experience, I mean, half the fun of I think Helldivers is playing it like with friends and just experience. Honestly, this game is actually fun with randos. Like I play this with randos constantly just because it's funny. Like
Oh.
everyone just kind of works.
Engaging terminal.
I don't play with voice chat on, but Metal Kobold join a robot.
Sentry.
Mortar.
Medical
Metal.
ball.
Metal wanna join? Oh heck yeah! Let me invite. I think I can
We have
just
to
straight
remove
invite.
the
Right?
thingies.
Remove
Oh yeah,
the
okay,
what?
I got the locks.
Okay, I got it too.
Like the taste of
If
freedom.
anyone wants to, you can use that gun on the ATV I dropped.
Airdrop?
I'm on it.
Metal cobalt giant. More kobolds.
More win.
3 kobolds and a stake. Enter Helldivers. What's the rest of the joke? What's the punchline?
Um,
No, just
Yep.
kobolds. Kobolds. Yip. Yeah, exactly. Yip. That's the punchline.
I think that works.
Yip.
Requesting sentry.
There you go. I've changed myself from. I think a second to change myself from Repo Breen. Breenpo.
I played Repo too, but sadly I didn't like it.
I think the most fun that I had with it was understanding that I could like if you look up or down, you change the tone of your character's speech. and if you're crouched, they go into whisper mode, and that is so funny
There's
to
a
me. I
medal.
am like,
I brought
Metal?
frame.
Ah!
Metal, you're looking the wrong way. The rest of us are looking the right direction, and you are.
Allied destroyer joining squadron, deploying Helldiver to combat zone.
There was a lot of
Sorry, I'm trying
words.
to. Oh my goodness, you dropped in the wrong spot. I almost shot at you. Well, sorry, I did shoot at you, but I almost shot you.
Can I throw a 380 Who barrage?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, do it. No, just do it.
Yeah. I'll try to throw as
Yeah,
far
go
as
ahead.
possible.
They did make the barrages a lot better, but also,
I think
you will
that's
cause
not very...
problems.
I think that's very close.
No. I'm going to evacuate the area.
Okay, it's launching.
I'm sorry?
Get out of here.
It might have been very dangerous. Oh! I fell down.
Get on the gun.
I'm in the car.
Yeah, get on the gun.
The gun?
Gun.
Gun.
We have gun on car. Yeah, there we go. Where do we go now? Extraction? Oh no, this one.
Where do we go now? Where did we come from? Where did we go now, Helldiver Joe? Oh my god, terrifying. I don't trust the Cobalt driver, but I'll get in the car.
It's okay. We have a
I'm
cobalt
driving.
gunner.
But why don't we go to straight ahead of us? There's one of those pings up there. To the right?
Yeah.
One of those gold pings?
Gold pings?
Yeah, you see those little, there's like in the sky, it's a little beacon to the right. Here, I'll if you want to slow down, I'll get out and go grab that.
That thing?
No, to the right. That's left.
Oh. Sorry, I cannot.
It's
Left and
What
right
is
is a little bit hard.
direction?
There's things!
Ira, shoot!
it's to the west. Sorry, I guess west I should say. That makes more sense.
There's a big mountain to the west of me.
Well, yeah, but it's Herb, it's all in the mountain, Herb.
Oh, I need to reload.
it's-
At least my character is very happy.
Oh, there! Now I see it.
This, yeah, you can see this from pretty far away too.
Oh my god, shiny.
Metal, all right. These are good because we can get the super credits from them. Sometimes,
Metal,
so-
behind you! Behind us!
I jumped down from because I got. Yeah.
Gun!
Have a taste of
Oh my god, flamethrower on the side of the. All right, let's go. I also have a flamethrower.
Did I just shot
What?
metal?
What happened?
I think I might have shot metal.
I think you killed Metal.
I think I killed metal.
Oh,
Hold on,
it's reassuring that it wasn't my fault.
There's a Juggernaut right behind you. There's a heavy.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Make car move.
Yeah,
Car move.
we're too fast.
Look, y'all just go. I'll catch up.
Okay.
Personally, I will keep up.
Gun. Did I just kill metal again?
No, Metal died.
It wasn't my fault, right? I was driving.
I don't know.
No.
I don't think I shot metal.
I think you did on accident.
I did?
I just heard.
Ira, shoot!
Hello to democracy!
There's no more bullet here.
Reload.
No, I reloaded. There's no more max.
And we gotta get out and do it manually.
It says out of ammo. Help.
Well then, get out. Get out.
Mortar. Mortar century. Oh, it's already dead. Oh,
It's
thank
out of
you.
ammo. What do I do? I guess I'll just sit here.
Bugs. I got the
Green.
car.
Yeah.
Get in.
Oh. Other side. Wait. Gun.
Gun.
Gun is
With
empty,
no
I think.
no bullet.
That's fine.
A gun with no bullet.
Hey God, we no bullet.
That means I might get shot.
Have a taste of democracy.
Yeah, it means
Yeah.
I will
Ah.
threaten you with it, but I
That
won't
was
kill
a
you.
short drive.
Oh, did we reach?
Our samples. Yum yum yum.
I love peaches.
Oh,
Here they come.
Democracy.
sentry.
I did the first person with the flamethrower. Ow. Cobalt.
Whoa!
Metal.
I didn't do
Metal.
it.
Metal.
That's not me.
Metal.
What is
Metal
that?
killed us.
Metal. Tilra. Tilra.
No, I didn't kill. Killed by metal. It says.
Tilra.
Apparently I did.
I didn't do
Tilra,
it.
this is all your fault.
Tesla tower killed
Kill
us.
all of them.
Why is it my fault? What did
Oh,
I
you
do?
did, you did. Sorry. Ongoing 380mm barrage. Interesting. Interesting. Curious.
Well, I'm dead.
Funny about how this happened, possibly.
I didn't do it. I don't know.
Metal's Tesla tower fried me.
It says killed by metal.
I cannot.
Yeah.
I'm very scared to go anywhere. Wait, okay. Is it done? We're safe? Question mark?
Where's my stuff?
I think so. I'm just taking everything here. Oh, recoilless
just-
rifle.
just-
I'm here.
honestly, Just grab. grab what
Yeah,
you
it's
can.
it's fine. Ooh, there's a lot of bugs. Recoilless.
That was going really well until everyone exploded.
I hate the Tesla tower. It doesn't. It takes friend and foe.
Yeah.
We have a big one coming in.
Which direction?
Reloading my recoilless. I can destroy it. Get away from it. I can recoil. Nice, Safira.
Gotta reload.
We got more dragon.
Yep.
Machine gun sentry. Mortar sentry. There's many things. Hiya. What happened?
Wow. I was killed by Tilda.
What did I do? I killed by burning. Oh, it's the mortar.
Motor.
The
No,
mortar is really dangerous on bugs because they get close and the mortar shoots close, and we are close to the mortar.
But
Everybody get in. Is everybody here?
yeah, there's
I think we got all-
sample
we got all the
container.
samples.
I think so.
Anyway, did we
Die.
learn a valuable lesson today? What did we learn today, Tiller?
Mortar good, explosion fun, dying bad.
Yay!
Tesla
There we
bad.
go. Tesla bad.
Tesla very bad. Okay, I have time for one more mission. Then it's almost lunchtime, and then I gotta go with Steve and get his quad back.
Holy shit, we missed. I did not find the stalker lair.
Oh,
That was a weird map, though.
I like it. Many deaths.
I had fun.
Oh no, I still had fun. I didn't find those other objectives.
Freedom never sleeps.
I can also do like maybe 1 or 2 missions, and then I have to go hang out with a friend that came from Cebu.
Hell yeah.
Yay.
Where-
And one of the things that it says is it goes like a little hit of liberty if you take it when you're at high health.
Oh,
Fish.
Just a little hit of liberty.
Fish.
fish.
Chat.
I like fish.
Fish.
Fish. How good did we do?
I'm the highest level.
I died the least. No, it's Tira. Tira died the least.
I'm so good.
I used the most stims. I didn't get any friendly fire
T-Rat
kills.
got the
That's
most
really funny.
kills.
Interesting about that. Interesting about I got no friendly fire kills. That's really funny, isn't it? Friendly. That's really funny. That's really goofy. A little
Friendly
ha-ha.
fire damage 67.
I had
I didn't get
friendly
any-
fire damage 0.
Oh, is it called accidentals?
That's
Oh.
what accidental is.
Accidentals was my guard dog, probably.
I got 2 accidentals for my mortar.
Oh, I haven't got this one. Hold on. A stationary ballistic cover.
Lots of
I
Interesting.
delivered the most democracy and hit it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Aboard, Helldiver. Now they
You were the most accurate deliverer of democracy, and that is worth.
The medal was most
accolades.
accurate, but I delivered the most.
Because Metal showed up about 80% through the mission and
yeah,
fired at least
Yeah.
that's
barely
true,
any
that's true.
shots. That's cheating, Metal. That's cheating. You're trying to
Apparently.
cheating. You're cheating.
Ooh, heavy machine
Eh.
gun. It's like I'm playing Metal Slug. I don't have enough money though.
Heavy machine
I'm-
gun.
Heavy machine gun.
Rocket launcher.
Enemy chaser.
Enemy chaser. I
Flamethrower.
love
Drop shot.
Yes. Flamethrower. Just the way they say it, though. So, like, I got this game called Outpost Infinity Siege, and the language in it, the devs, it's not their first language. So they use, like, translation, kind of like generative text. So, like, it's not, like, AI text, it's just translated, language. And when they say turrets, it doesn't say turrets, it says Tourette's.
Oh. Oh.
To
So, like-
oh.
Hey, we
Oh.
have gotten some new machine gun Tourette's. I'm like, that's not the right word to
It's
say.
a turret that goes like fuck.
Bitch, shit, fuck ass, bitch, fuck ass. It just screams. No, but
It
that-
deals emotional damage.
Oh, it's this one is defend area. I'm sure it's gonna
we
go
just gotta kill
fine.
a bunch of enemies.
Coordinates locked.
We're gonna defend a small area with 380 mm and mortar.
Engaging orbital
Okay,
frontier.
fine. That's cool. You can leave. Get back in your fucking. You stay in there.
Okay, I won.
That's cool. You don't gotta be friends.
It's so small. Here,
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 here.
here. How about here?
Honestly, try and click in the middle as close as you can.
Okay,
But otherwise, yeah, that's about it.
middle.
I can't. Ah, there we go.
Oh, what if I use incendiary mines?
So, yeah, sure, go for it. Have fun.
Yeah.
Have a
I'll
beautiful
bring.
day, my beautiful cobalt lady.
Mortar Sentry? What if I bring all Sentry?
Hey, what did we learn about Mortar Sentry?
Oh, okay. No, no
What-
Mortar
what-
Sentry.
What did we learn about Mortar Sentry?
Okay, no Mortar Sentry. Got it.
what did we learn, Tilra, about Mortar Sentry?
I'll
Building a
bring.
century.
I'll bring machine gun
Explosion
sentry and
woody.
Gatling sentry. And
Do you have any boosters yet, Tilra? Or I can't remember if you had one from last round.
I have the hard shape booster. The vitality,
The what?
I think.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I'll bring 120 mm Heberge. I think that's pretty good.
Now that one's safer. A little safer.
A little safer, yeah. 120. We got this.
You know,
Launch
I've been known to take a 120mm barrage in my time, but a 380 that's too much.
I love 380. Have you seen the explosion? I love explosions. It's huge.
Yep,
So
yep,
have you-
yep, yep.
Have you used the mech yet in this game?
The
I
who?
have.
You want to use one?
Mech?
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah.
Like a burger?
Like a bipedal murder liberty dispensing machine.
Oh, Mac. Oh, I thought it's like burger. Oops.
Not a big
No,
mech.
not a Mac.
My bad.
A Mac.
Mac, you're right.
a big Mac.
Going down a sentry.
There you go. Go ahead. There it is for you, Tiller. That is an emancipator. Quadruple autocannons.
Yeah. Going in for this.
Oh, we both had the same idea.
Watch out.
Yep.
You can blow off your own arms.
Oh,
A double
Third
century
time.
down there.
Yeah, sentry.
Oh,
Double democracy.
And if you do melee button, you'll stomp on things.
Ooh. Oh, that's a good stomp.
The mechs in this one aren't as strong as in the first game because you can't do stratagems from inside the mech, but they're still pretty good.
I think with this amount of turret, we're gonna be okay.
I don't know about that.
Oh, a hole! Time to nuke it!
I want.
Sorry, I can't see anything as my screen has been blinded by. What's marching?
By something. Something's very bright.
Liberty.
Is there flashbang?
No, there are stun grenades, but there is no flash. There should be one though.
By
Why
flashbang
flashing
is...
them when you can might as well throw an explosive at them?
Flashbang them with the shrapnel.
I feel too strong in this mech.
Don't.
Too strong.
You played Subnautica, right, Silva?
No, I'm scared of sea.
Oh, you need to.
Good.
Well, there's a whole section of it where it's like a prawn pilot has issues where they start feeling unstoppable and unkillable, and then that's literally what you just sounded like just now. I'm in this robot suit and I am too powerful.
I am too
I'm
powerful.
in danger.
No, I am the danger.
I kill everything.
I am the one who knocks.
But yeah, your left click is the left autocannons, and the right is the right autocannons. So you can kind of balance your ammo out.
So I can...
Or you can double pew pew.
Yeah.
If you really need to, if you need to die, if something needs Liberty really hard, you can Liberty double hard. You can double fist Liberty on that bitch.
Wee.
You can extra Liberty her.
I have extra Liberty ED.
Yeah, Liberty Plus. You
Yeah.
have a subscription to Liberty, Maximum Liberty.
You shouldn't. Oh, Tira.
What happened?
Yeah, the turrets aimed at something and you walked in their line of fire.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so you have learned a valuable lesson that the mech is not
strong.
invincible.
armored with cardboard.
Yeah, they are a little bit better than they were, but they are still extra special.
Freedom.
Freedom.
I do think they really made the HMGs a lot better though. When the game first came out, the HMG turrets were very, 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 very. I think they went like half as fast as they were, or as fast as they do now.
Oh, I have incendiary mines.
Arson?
Arson.
Yeah.
Your son, my son.
Oh, it bounced off. God damn it.
The
that's
power
what I
of the
wanted.
sun.
Is that far enough?
Those stupid throw ball thingies bounce off.
I think that's safer.
I take a step back.
It could be more on fire.
That's a little bit close. I think that's a little bit close. Resupply behind us.
I failed.
The big boy?
That's not gonna hit anything.
Ooh. Sentry.
Bug detected. Tremors detected. There's a lot of shit happening.
Tira detected?
Silver detected. Nightmare scenario. Please do not walk in front of the gun.
Right, of course.
I give ammo.
Let me there we go. Then I feel safer.
Do not walk in front of the gun. Do
No.
not walk in front of. Do not.
I'm not walking
do
in
not
front of
be
the
in
gun.
front of the gun.
I'm not walking.
Do not be in front
I'm
of the gun.
crawling in front of the gun.
Do not in front of the gun.
I'm strafing. Ah! Oh my god! One
What
shot.
happened?
I don't know.
How did that happen?
Oh god.
That's so weird.
There's a faulty gun going on.
Anyway,
Oh no.
Cool gun.
Oh, anyway, cool gun. Gun's very cool. Hell yeah.
Democracy
Alright, let me get my. I mean, I don't have
Here,
anything.
you can have your turn on like the really fun little crane thing at the playground.
This mission is easy.
Yeah. Are those hives that we can destroy? You know, the...
No, and these ones, these are just have to like let the enemies come to us and then kill them.
Ooh.
The HMG can really like ruin a lot of enemies. I think like you can kill Hulks with it, like on the bot side.
Ooh.
You can penetrate a lot more armor now, so it's way more versatile. It's a good weapon to have along.
What happens if I dive down there?
Oh, right here?
Probably death.
Ow. Okay.
Ow! My neck! I'm fine.
Fire! I got inside. I dived into the hole. So accurate. I'm the best.
It was special Helldiver tech.
Yeah.
Liberty saves its own.
Liberty.
I love
A
fire.
sip of
one
my
more?
liberty. Yum yum yum.
That was a short mission.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
can-
but it's in the next half hour. Lunch is ready,
Okay.
and I don't want to
have time
leave
for more, but
mid mission.
it's up to y'all.
Yep.
I can play. I can play
Yep.
two more mission. Like one more.
Operation.
One set of challenging mission.
One more
Okay.
Operation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Operation.
You want to try botting something different, like automatons or squids?
Do we have the biggest explosion possible?
Priority alert. The Miriam system.
Hey,
Bimsh?
Fish?
Slimsh.
What did you name your super destroyer?
Mine?
Protector of gold, because I'm a kobold and I like shinies.
That makes sense.
Lady of Dawn. I don't know how I got that one.
That was one for the record books.
I named mine
where all
Octagon of the
missions
Stars
are
because that made me laugh.
Octagon.
Octagon. This ship is an octagon, and it's the whole YouTube boop video by Jack Black. Well, thanks for playing, Merp.
Bye bye, Merp.
What?
Well, I mean, because you have to go.
Oh.
I was saying thanks for
Oh,
playing. sorry.
I understood. What are you playing, Mervin? I was confused.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? Thank you for playing. It was nice to say hi to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, thank you. It's the first time we ever played something green, right?
Yeah, it was. So it was
Yep,
like,
yep.
thanks for hanging out.
And
so.
same with metal. We never played something together. Yay,
Yeah,
Corporal Power! Fuck yeah! I mean, yep. Sorry.
Green is now a kobold temporarily.
Honorary
Honorary
kobold.
kobold.
Honorary kobold. Yeah.
Okay,
That's what
I hang up for now. I still watch your stream until lunch.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hang out in chat. Until then,
Hey, I seem to be missing an arm. Is that anyone else seeing me without an arm, or is that just me?
sometimes
you're missing
Kira
one.
flies around as a torso without any limbs or head. That's
Yeah,
a funny
Breen-
bug.
Green arm is gone.
Okay, bye bye everyone.
Bye bye, Merp.
Hi, it's me, amputee.
Amputee. Alright,
let's go.
let's do one set of no,
I would not mind
Uh,
anything that is not bug, but that's me. So
oh
something a
wait,
little to mix it up.
we have bugs. We have
I know if you're doing Illuminates, they're always defensive, and those ones tend to have some pretty quick missions. Like if you look, you can try and find like 2 defensive missions.
red is robots.
Yeah, red is
Purple
automatons, which are. These are always defensive missions, so we
I
should probably
can-
work on those for the Galactic War.
invasion campaign.
Yeah, so like pretty much the enemy is attacking us, so we're defending.
Oh, we should go
And
help.
there's special missions for those. Like it's like a we can get like there could be shorter missions depending on what the role is, but there's ones like defend certain areas or stuff like that.
There's
It's
tree
fun checking it
mission.
out.
One last step.
I don't want evacuate colonist. All of them has evacuate colonist.
You can try the other planet or go up a difficulty or down the difficulty if you want to see if anything else changes. Ooh, that brick wall, real good.
Real good? But this is hard though.
Yeah. We pretty much have to defend a specific spot against a horde of enemies.
We have
I think that's probably
tree.
a really that one. Well, we don't have to finish the. We can come back to this operation later, but that defensive one is really fun because
Oh.
you literally hold one like you hold a spot against a horde of enemies.
Oh. So mortar?
Yeah, so you could bring mortar, Tilra, mortar good,
Mortar
mortar
good?
good,
I want that
mortar
mission.
good. Yes.
Yeah. I want that mission right now.
FTL jump to the Bashir system.
Hard
I
is
love
not.
how in the ship our capes are always flying. They just have extra wind.
Bashir.
FTL
Bashir.
jump successful.
Bullshit?
Bashir.
Mission coordinates locked.
Bashir Starry.
Help
Bashir.
primed.
Mortar good? I'm gonna perform. Oh my god. I'm going in.
So is there like a defensive map? So like we have to cover or defend these like 2 generators for the duration of the mission.
Oh. So we drop down like in the middle?
In the middle, yeah. Yeah. You kind of see how it goes because the enemy we have like about 2 minutes before they drop in, but we can also start it early if we want to. So
Wait, did they make sentry cooldown a lot longer?
you can make this sentry cooldown shorter as you get more like upgrades for it.
I get 4 sentries. Well, 3 sentry, 1 incendiary mine. I'm super defensive.
I gotta change my weapon because I have a weapon that I like for Illuminate. The Blitzer!
Oh, we
Shock grenade.
probably not incendiary mine, but I like it though.
That's still good. I mean, that is still very helpful. Like, mines are good in general, so.
Yeah,
I mean, do you want me to. I can say less if you want to, like, figure out how to fight them yourself.
it's okay. I'll bring 4 of these. It should be fine.
Okay.
No,
I think versus a kind of low enough difficulty, we should be okay for most stuff.
I mean, this is like the first time me playing on hard difficulty.
Sorry, did this one say large enemies or armored enemies?
I didn't have recoilless though.
I was like, if it did say that, we might be in trouble.
Do we not have anti-tank?
I didn't bring any anti-tank.
Yikes. It's okay, we have mortar. Mortar good. Mortar destroy everything. Time left until automatic initiation.
Yeah, so
So
don't
we
throw down any of your defenses yet, but you can kind of run this direction and we'll kind of get a feel for the map.
So it's kind of a tower defense feeling of it?
Yes, kind of, yeah. Like we go here, we can kind of close these gates. I like to close this gate just in case anything gets by us, but once everyone is actually doing their own thing. Oops, not reinforcing.
Calling down supplies.
So we defend 2 roads here.
Yeah, well, it's kind of one road. They'll always come up this one way.
Oh, over here
Now this
has...
thing is new to me. Whoa, this wall is cool.
Wall?
It's a wall that has a grenade launcher on it.
Oh, Grenadier Battalion?
That's cool. That's new to me. Sorry.
I have no idea what those are. Incendiary mines?
Calling down fortifications.
Close the door.
Yeah. Oh, they come from that way over there too. Okay, so
Oh, they
this is a
can.
weird map. Yeah, it's so they come from 2 directions.
Oh, it says they're incoming. Help.
All right, so on the left side here we have a grenade launcher wall with a bunch of mines. And on the right side we have a kobo.
A couple?
Calling down a sentry.
Sending down sentry.
These maps also do generally have a like they do have built-in heavy grenade or heavy machine guns with like half ammo.
Well, oh my god, there's so many things happening. Mortar good.
Oh, stuff
Yeah, it's
blowing
mortar
up everywhere.
Oh, there's a recoilless rifle here.
Oh, do you want? I can get the backpack you want. We can try doing if we need it, we can try doing team reloads.
I don't have the backpack though.
I have supply backpack.
Oh, okay. So she just literally just found
Yeah.
the recoilless rifle. She didn't bring it with. She just found one.
Yeah, I just found one.
Boom.
Oh my god, they run so fast. Oi! I'm fine.
Sorry.
It's okay, I'm okay.
Oh,
How about a nice cup of liver?
Are they flying?
Tilra killed them.
What did I do?
I feel like it says killed by Tilra.
I'm helping metal shooting thing. Mortar? I think it's mortar.
It might have been that.
It might have been mortar. Yeah. Yeah. Are they playing
You could
Warframe?
revive me.
Oh yeah, I could.
Yeah, welcome to the grenade here.
Mortar.
It's
On my
okay.
corpse, I do have the Blitzer if you want to try using that. It's like a shock shotgun.
Calling down a sentry.
A shotgun?
Yeah, it's a.
That'll slow him down.
It's. I don't know where it is actually.
I have
I
no
think I must
idea.
have flown into this if I got blown up by Tilra.
They're over here.
There's a big boy. Head
A
destroyer.
robot thingy with a shield.
Oh shit! Yep, we do have heavies here. We did not bring any anti-armor. We're in trouble.
Oh, I cannot shoot in. Oh, there's one as well here. Grenade.
Oh wait! I can do it. I can do it with AV. Oh god! 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 Hi.
This is.
I'm sorry that I fucked.
I think this is
Tilra, I
fun.
fucked up.
Ow.
I didn't know this is a heavy mission.
It's okay. I don't know as well. Ah, prone. There's a lot of noises going on.
I figured how to re-ammo myself with the backpack.
Reinforcing. There's a lot of
Oh,
things happening.
Flamethrower hurts it. Okay.
Reinforcing.
You might have to throw an SOS beacon out. If you can get someone in here that has
SOS beacon.
anti-tank.
SOS
Oh,
beacon out. Sending resupply. I'm out of bullet on everything.
Just throw on a resupply and just do what you can.
Oh, I killed 21
Yeah.
things.
Here, cover the generators. I hear one of them beeping. I think they're getting damaged by something. Get
Generator.
these boltless off me. I have I can at least kill Haviz with this turret.
Sending in more
The generators
I
are,
didn't see the
are
generator
beeping.
being hit.
They're beeping. I don't know if they're getting hit by something.
Yeah, they are flying dudes.
Yeah.
Where's the generator?
They're
Back
back
here
here.
with
They're
me.
on the map.
I think that was the last of them.
I think I think we're good.
There's something I can use here.
Ooh.
All right.
Lots of
Someone
bullets
joined
make
us.
brain happy.
Someone made it.
Lots of bullets.
Someone made it?
Someone accepted it. Yeah, someone's here.
Hey, yo, the mine's coming in handy.
Yeah, they're coming in clutch. They're literally just kind of stopping everything.
So how do I use the ammo pack on myself? Because I forgot.
5. Yeah, press
Get
5.
the link.
Then you'll
Oh, you
replay
put
yourself.
5. I also don't know where my ammo pack went.
Probably on the ground.
There's supply on the ground here. Flying.
Oh, is that it down there? Ow!
Oi! I didn't mean to step on my own mine. I didn't see them.
That's the funny thing. That's the funny thing about mines. They don't care.
They don't care. True.
Okay. Okay.
Did you get your backpack back?
I got my backpack.
You got your pack back.
Machine gun
Your back-
station.
Black pack. Time to hide. I get ammo.
Thank you. Hey, what happened?
Why is there mines here? It's so
Flying,
deep
guys.
inside.
Because you threw a mine beacon right there, Tora.
No, I threw it very far. At the not at where we stand.
I'm nuking the door, so careful. This is gonna look cool.
Thanks, Bree. Someone died.
Oh dear. Oh crap! I'm sorry. How'd that get you?
So if you go up to one of these battlements that I have, they have grenade launchers on them.
I'm gonna throw
Automatic
incendiary.
grenade launchers.
I hope that's far enough. Careful, incendiary coming in, metal.
Oh, okay. Whee! Mines everywhere. Owie!
Careful.
Hopeless.
What? Killed by metal, it says? What happened?
What? How?
I don't know.
I'm up here with a flamethrower. Well, I think it's a flamethrower.
I also don't know.
I think it's a flamethrower, more or less.
But it's an explosion that killed me. Do we have infinite revive? Question
No.
mark? No? Oh shit! I died too many times. Oh god.
You have like 11 more, so no worries about that.
I am burning.
Oh my goodness! Hold on! Cover me! Don't get in front.
They're
Reinforcing.
going for the generator to the right.
Yeah, I think no one else is in the air. Oh wait, there we go.
What the? I'm sorry. I
Reinforcing.
didn't see you. Ow.
Calling in sentry. Careful.
No, we are in this area. Okay, I thought you were still in incendiary mine. I was like, we are right here.
No, it's not. It's not incendiary.
Objective failed.
Oh no! I dropped down. I dropped down to an out of bound place, and it says killed by myself.
It's time to leave. I'm sorry, I did not remember that that heavy armor would be in this map. Otherwise, I would have brought anti-tank.
It's
That was not bad.
okay. I mean, I don't know why I'm going again. So this is the first time for everything. It's all good.
I should know.
Oh, I'm coming in. Democracy has landed, and now departing. Oh, where's P2? He's still very far away. Whoop.
Oh, they didn't extract. They died.
Whoop. No, sweet liberty.
You have escaped death and earned us an opportunity to redeem this liberty.
Liberty. Mission failed with a very. This music doesn't feel like I failed the mission.
Unremarkable performance.
Okay, now that's a.
Now I feel bad.
It's just being rude now.
Now I feel bad. What do you mean unremarkable performance?
We're lucky we got that because we failed.
So is the random guy gonna join my ship as well?
Yeah, he'll be here.
Oh, that random guy is level 6.
What did I do?
I fired a lot of bullets.
Has left squadron.
I
revived
killed
a lot of people. I didn't revive. I reinforced.
Oh, we both reinforced 6 times. Oh, there's even distance traveled. I love how metal has 600 friendly fire damage. Hi, Dragon Colony. Look at my new unlock demo. It's a burr.
The one thing our enemies can never understand.
I love talking to these two characters because they have so much so much speech to them, and they're so
The
funny.
democracy officer is here to optimize our citizenship. We're lucky. We should always strive to be the best citizens we can be.
The best citizens.
Are toilets dissident hideouts?
Are they?
Toilet?
We'll never know.
It was on the news thing.
Ready, Helldiver?
Are they though? Who knows?
Oh.
Oh, that one just... We cannot continue that again? Oh, we failed, so
No,
we
that-
cannot...
that- Yeah, that one's over, but we can like start another one if you want to find that. It's up to you.
Yeah, we can try
I
it.
will bring the right equipment this time to help us do better.
Do better.
I did done goof.
It's okay, I goofed hard as well. Why game look pixelated? My PC is trying its best, I'm sorry.
Oh, that one had a defensive thing.
Yeah.
We're honestly lucky that like being able to stream this game is a feat on its own because yeah, I have to drop my settings super hard to stream it.
My setting is at the lowest possible and I wanted to use mods to make it even worse, but the game doesn't load because of Game Guard. Yeah, we can try again on the same difficulty.
Yeah, I'll bring the right stuff for this one.
Oh, it says
Y'all could
massive enemies, heavily armored enemies.
Yes, I see. Okay, that's when we're gonna start dealing with like actual like if you're dealing with bugs, it's Bile Titans.
Coordinates locked.
With Illuminates, it's
Hellpods prime.
Harvesters,
Engaging
and then with
orbital
bots,
sensors.
it's like I think with bots. I wonder, do you know Metal if it's like Factory Striders or is that later on?
I've not played this in years since it first came out, so I
Okay.
Going in here.
Yeah, I'll bring in my heavy stuff.
I'll bring my recoilless as well. I'll bring 2 sentry, 1 recoilless. Actually, I'll bring 1 mortar, 1 incendiary mine. 380 No, that's a bit dangerous.
No.
Are we doing the defense one first?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
a defense one again.
I would
Okay,
bring
test us out.
your recoilless, and then I can I can grab the backpack because Metal has the resupply backpack, and then we can reload each other real fast. Or I can reload you really fast if we see like a big boy show
How
up.
do we help each other reload?
It's really easy. I got the backpack. We can show you really quick before before the enemies actually start showing up. We can show you real quick with that.
All right.
It's really nice though. You know what? I'm gonna bring War Crime Barrage.
War crime?
Yeah, Gas Strike.
Oh.
It's not a war crime, it's the first time.
Alright, I'll try my best.
I'll stay with what I've got.
Fish using rocks? Woe time. What the fuck? What do you mean? With rock?
Wrong good. That's what. That's how
For a
you
minute
fish.
there, I thought they said fishing with cock.
Oh yeah, that same thing.
That might work.
Coxy Roxy, baby.
Not calling you out. I understand.
Alright, so when you want to, just throw down the
I'm inside the
I
wall.
destroyed something.
That's fine.
Where's Blue
You actually used
Man?
to, you used to be able to launch and land directly on the generators and destroy them, so they fixed that, which is nice.
Fish with guns. Guns work best. Currently gonna be killing a bad riff watching someone butcher a 2-meter bluefin marlin. I have 207 defense in the
Heavy machine gun.
I have my backpack here. Do I take the backpack or do you take the backpack?
So you can take it, but you can also drop it. It's very you can hold X, and you can drop various things you have like samples, gun.
Oh.
Yeah. And then watch this. So I can do this,
Performing assisted reload.
and then I will reload it as fast as you can shoot it essentially, and you can tell the ammo based on what's on my backpack.
Can I try shoot once?
Yeah, no, go for it. You can fire a few shots.
Oh, that's
it's
so
the-
We have
fast.
two Andresses again.
So it's literally that fast. I just have to be on there like next to you.
Oh, but it's super fast.
Yeah. So and then by the time you have a chance to spawn like another backpack, you can have your own backpack as well, just in case. Like I'm not like there to.
I can have another backpack for 40 seconds, I think.
Yeah.
7 minutes.
And I also brought in an anti-tank emplacement that we can launch. So it's literally just the anti-tank gun here.
Oh.
So I brought this just in case.
I'm putting in incendiary. Oh, metal is over there. Oops. Careful, metal.
Fuck you! Ow!
Taste of freedom! Don't go too far ahead because I'm gonna throw gas out once they get here.
Sorry, what?
I will throw gas. Also, fun fact that the heavy machine gun can damage and destroy most enemies depending on where you shoot them.
Oh.
Like the automaton tanks, you can shoot. The heavy machine gun will penetrate their like their heat vent, on these shredder tanks, like the ones that have like 4 guns, it will break their.
Can I
Back up,
destroy that
back up,
thing?
Back up.
Back up. Oh, there's something coming in.
Oh, out of ammo.
Wait. Yeah, shoot that harvester. Hey, there you go.
Is there harvester?
One more to the yeah. Let me break the shields though first. We want to break the shields first.
Okay. Ew.
Aim for the. Why can't I team reload it?
It did.
Yeah, aim for the spot between like the joints.
At the glowing spot?
Yeah, like at any of the joints. I found that kills them in 1 hit.
Oh, joints. Okay.
Yeah, like because they have armor on the top half, so.
I'm throwing
That's my
my
experience, anyway.
my barrage. Barrage incoming.
Closing the door.
Throwing incendiary over the door. Do we need resupply?
I give ammo.
Grenade! Oh, I threw a grenade at accident.
There we go.
Gas,
Oh.
gas, gas!
Gas, gas,
There's an
gas.
accident. Gas, gas, gas. I'm gonna step on the gas. Hey, get up. Hey.
Huh?
Sorry, I was trying to be funny, but I accidentally pulled the grenade out, so I had to throw it really fast.
Mortar coming in. Mortar behind us. But it should not shoot at us, right?
All right, so they're already they're through our last gate
What
here.
the?
What happened? I think I missed.
I think I gave you ammo for your rocket thing if you want to take out that big guy.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to think.
Here, let me drop that.
Yeah.
Sorry, you might as well use here the backpack so you can do that without me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm very mobile.
it's okay. I'll do it. Don't worry.
We should keep that open.
That's a lot of things. Incendiary.
Oh, and I just put a Tesla out there too. To blow it up.
I got an anti-tank emplacement back here at least.
I'll call it a resupply.
Yeah, go for it. I have the Burke where resupply beacons have a gun on them, so it'll give us a little bit more fire support.
Oh, that's nice.
It's a small gun, but it's better than no gun.
Yeah, better than nothing.
We got a heavy out there.
Reload.
Here, break that shield.
I'm reloading.
Oh, gotta reload.
Sending mortar. Here.
We're literally like pulling the very last line of defense.
Yeah.
Dropping an extra heavy machine gun if someone wants it.
Ooh, yeah, I'll grab that.
I'm destroying the thing.
Yep. You take a shot at that if you can.
There's too many things, so wait, give me a second.
I'm not sure if I killed it or not. No, I not. So it's still alive there.
Alright, give me a second. Ay. Oh.
Oh, gotcha. Did I help it? Did I save you? Okay, good. You can.
Yeah,
I
take
got
it,
really
take it.
good at throwing illuminate grenades away.
Oh.
Okay, the machine gun's behind the barricade.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I'll grab that. It'll be a nice
I'm gonna reload.
force multiplier.
Throwing.
That might be a little bit close.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. Nope. Yep. Nope. That was
Guess.
my bad. I thought we had more time, more distance on that
Guess.
one. I done fucked up on that one.
Calling a he barrage.
Yeah, there we go. That's a good distance away from that one.
Behind cover.
I'm being. Holy shit! Wait, they are getting behind the.
Oh, I
Like
see.
the left
He's
or
right.
right?
Tower doing damage. Hey, there's a flying guy attacking the battery.
Yeah,
I think.
I killed one over. Yeah, I killed one over here. So if you ever hear that beeping, just look at the base, just in case.
Okay. I'm calling extra recoilless
Go
rifle.
Tesla, go! Oh, out of ammo. Okay, now I can reload.
All right, we're halfway there. We're gonna need more than a prayer to make it through this one. Ow, my guts.
I need those to live.
I have extras, but I need all of them. Alright, that gas strike is much farther out. That in a safe distance.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Supplies.
My Jersey barrier has been destroyed.
Calling Mota. This is good then.
Ow.
Dropping a supply backpack if someone wants to use it.
I'll probably grab that, yeah, because I think I'm the only one that doesn't have a backpack right now.
Ow.
Holy machine gun bullet hell.
Incendiary.
Ammo. My beloved.
Freedom forever? I set the line.
Freedom forever. We're at 5 out of 8. We're almost done.
Oh, reloading. It's in front of me! It's in front of me!
Ow.
And
I tried to kick it.
I'll reinforce. Get in, Breen.
I'm gonna try and kind of push forward a bit because we are too far back. Take care, Merp.
Hmm? On lunchtime.
Let me throw this first and clear the way. Uh oh, you're right next to that. I am so sorry. That is a big bomb.
You're good. You're good. You're good. Oh shit!
Ooh, killed 15 targets. Nice.
Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Oh fuck!
Is Breen okay?
No, I'm okay. It's, I got knocked over by the 500 kilogram with the Gatling barrage in my hand.
Oh no!
Alright, if you can have a chance to push forward, do it if you can. Safe.
I'm trying.
I'm mid reloading, so I need a minute.
Yeah, give yourself a time. Like,
Uh-oh. Throwing barrage. Oh, it's premium. Time premium.
Premium.
Wow.
You know,
We made a beautiful crater together.
My
That reminds me of
PC,
7 Days to Die.
my game is running at 17 frames per second. Hell yeah. That's how we know we're doing good. Raf Raid. Hi, Daddy. Wow.
really, it looks like it's running way better than that on this side. Anyway,
Oh, and sometimes it drops to 17. Most of the time, it's just running at 30,
Yeah.
which is good enough. Oh, this is something.
Ah.
yeah, get the guys cutting through. I'm trying to keep like this little area safe. Like I'm throwing just gas grenades everywhere, just kind of give us some space. Oh God.
I'm using mortar to help us.
Throwing a turret right at the front door.
I'm throwing incendiary very far.
That's actually a pretty
what
good
are you
turret.
doing?
Hope you're doing
Have you ever
good,
been,
Premium.
have you ever been a giraffe as gay as Premium? I haven't.
I haven't.
Yeah. The gayest giraffe that are known. That neck is long for a reason.
Yeah.
Damn it! They killed it.
I'm just
Freedom.
I'm not being mean. I'm being truthful.
Well, I mean, Premium seems to approve.
No, we love Premium. Premium's good shit.
Yeah,
What a
Premium's good.
goofball.
Ooh, another 15
You
targets,
know it.
nice.
Premium,
Nice,
amazing.
nice. Yeah. Keep those mortars just in the back so they can at least do their work.
Oh, okay. My
And I'll sit here
mortar,
and just
Yeah.
mortar's on
Gotta
cooldown.
reload.
Arion Equals, hi.
There is a mortar on the right side that someone has. It's getting hit by one boltless. I can't hit it.
I didn't mean to shoot green, sorry.
That's fine. I'm almost dead. Oh, there's a thing of Sims over here. Alright, I'm okay.
Oh.
That's a horse.
Oh,
Hey, good
we
job.
did
There
it,
we
holy
go. We
shit.
got it done.
Tira!
I didn't do anything.
You shot me!
No, I was shooting at the
It
air.
said you shot me!
Must be the mortar.
Must have been the mortar. Must have been the wind.
It must have been the wind. No, I sincerely did not shoot metal.
Let's leave. Go, 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 go.
Going.
Evacuate. Where are you going? Where are you going? Just, I'll come. for you.
I
Just
wanted
go,
my
just go.
gun!
I got you. I got you. Go. I got like
Here,
stun
right?
gun.
Grenade.
Ow! My ankles.
Running,
My
running,
ankles.
running.
I dropped down. Run, metal. Run, green.
Run.
Run.
Look, distraction!
Orbital. Incendiary.
I threw my turret.
Going in.
PS1 edition. Why is everyone being so mean?
This hacky diverse PS1 edition. My PC is trying its best. It's working, and it's already a miracle.
I'm happy to be able to play this and stream it and do it well.
Yeah.
Beyond the time where you killed us several times
If,
all together, but you know, ignoring that fact.
honestly, I saw those enemies, and sometimes it's really hard to differentiate between like Helldivers and enemies, so I might have shot you guys a few times. I'm being truthful here.
Eh.
Sorry,
Cancel
I
about
couldn't.
that.
I couldn't tell friend from foe. He. That sounds really anti-liberty.
Anti-liberty. Also, welcome in, Raiders. I'm Tiara. I'm playing with Green and Metal. And I suddenly don't know. My brain doesn't work anymore. I play a
Both
bunch of
like fighting
games.
games, and you love dragons to bits.
Yeah, something like that. Thank you, Metal.
I got no deaths.
Oh, I fired a lot of bullets.
Oh,
Ow.
I got no deaths.
Okay, I mean, I love those missions. Those missions are one of my favorites because you can actually like, all right, it's time to use every sentry that I have and just be stupid as fuck with it, and those are so much fun.
Mortar good?
Yeah, mortar good.
Mortar
But you
good.
can still kill your friends. Stop killing your friends, Tilra. Tilra, stop killing your friends. Tilra, please stop
I
killing us.
I need better
Please.
eyesight.
Help!
My eyes, they don't
Help!
work.
Help!
Oh, it's already 5:30. Oh god, I might have to run off.
No, I mean that makes sense. I mean that first one didn't go well, but so you can always come back to these operations to finish them. But I think this on these defenses map, it'll be done by the time you come back.
Oh,
This mission will be this plan will be done defending in like 3 hours. So don't ever worry about like not completing an operation. It'll happen plenty of times. So
oh, yeah. I mean,
you'll do your
that,
best.
yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah. So like you can always. I mean, if you don't complete the objective or the operation, it will not hurt the overall completion of the planet. So don't worry about that if you're ever worried.
I was
Even
worried
if
a
we
little
fail,
bit.
it does not hurt if we fail it. So
Yeah, that's really good to know.
look at shake my robot hand.
Scout handshake? Where? Robot
I've
hand?
got robot hand.
I want hand. Ooh.
Look, I have a robot. My whole right side is robotic. Look at that.
Salute. Was that the explosive handshake? I love how the one who interacts just suddenly goes idle.
I'm buying things from the store.
If
I love this one because this armor gives me extended range on throwing. So all of my stratagems, I've gotten so used to having the extended range on the throw that I just can't go back.
Oh, there's heavy armor.
You run slower, but you take more of a hit.
Yeah, I mean when the game first came out, the armor didn't do anything. It was kind of a fuck up, but now the armor actually does its job. So
Yeah, there are some medium armors that will give you the same amount of armor though as the heavy.
yeah, like
You might get the stamina reduction.
Oh wait,
it's
you're
the
right.
ones that say like extra padding. Those ones will give you the same armor as a heavy armor, but with the stamina as a medium.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's worth finding the playstyle that works for you. And then your helmet doesn't matter. I do wish that helmets gave you some kind of buff on their own, but at the moment they don't. So
I found the best helmet.
that one's good. I find the helmet that works with my current style. I've played Warframe. How did you know?
I never played Warframe before.
Fashion frame.
Oh, we have thick armor?
Yeah.
Item reviews. I've used this every day for the past few weeks. Wow.
Ah, what a good review. You should buy it.
I don't wanna. It doesn't look good.
What the next one though?
Okay, wait. Like the review changed.
What didn't? It was always like that.
The glory of Super Earth is mirrored in its production value.
It was always like that.
Was it?
There you go. Now I'm a Stormtrooper, so I can never hit anything.
I got 1 star just now. Where's the 1-star review? Oh, review under investigation for treason. I see.
I don't know what you're talking about. That sounds treasonous. Don't say that.
Yeah, you know, I didn't see anything. It's fine.
There you go. Well said.
Yeah, for Super Earth. For Super Earth, of course. I'm gonna leave the game now.
Alright, well, thanks for having me in for a little bit. Sorry I joined a little late. I would have played more, but thanks for having me.
Of course, I want to play more of this with friends. Maybe even tomorrow. Hell yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll close the game. I don't know what's gonna happen if I close, so heck yeah. game.
I'm gonna tell you a fun mistake. I think I've spoken to my rats enough where I say rats, 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 or boys, 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 and I think they think that is their name.
Rats and boys?
I've called them rats and boys so much that I think they think that is their collective name.
Oh, you mean you
But
mean your pet rats?
yes, my rats. I think they think their name is rats. All of them. I think they all think their name is rats, and I think they all think their name is boys.
That's kind of cute.
It's very funny.
You just
It's
like,
like,
oh, rats.
I go rats, 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 boys, 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 and all 5 of my boys are excited instantly that moment. I was like, I fucked up.
They'll just
Chat,
look
I
at
fucked
you.
up.
Oh, where did I put? Oh, you guys are just floating.
Yeah, I got no legs. Help. Help. Help.
Does this count as legs, even though it's mine?
Help. Help. I didn't end up wearing that dress today because the weather got really bad and really windy, and I also got really self-conscious. So I didn't
Oh,
end up doing it.
it's okay.
But I went with a really good friend, a really good trans friend, so she's doing very good.
Yeah, there's
And I
always
hope you're
chance.
doing good.
I'm doing as good as I am. I think I'm doing good. Yeah.
Good.
I'm able to be trans on stream, and I think that's good enough.
That is important. Being
Yeah.
who you want to be.
Because you know,
That's valuable.
Malaysia, Malaysia, definitely not friendly towards LGBTQ plus stuff. It's illegal. It's death sentence
Yeah.
if being found out by authorities. It's like, yeah, it's kind of scary sometimes.
I'm not safe,
feel
so
like...
I can't be me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
America is getting towards that point, and I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, it is pretty scary.
I don't like this.
It's so bad
But
too.
I'm very lucky to have a lot of people that are supportive of me. So.
Honestly, same. A lot of supportive friends, definitely.
Anyway, who are you raiding?
Dix.
Who
I
you
mean,
raiding?
yep. Okay.
Dix?
I got someone that we can raid.
Who?
If you want to take a look at them anyway, they're called Sir Noodle Archer. They are a snake that is playing Deep Rock Galactic. If you want to, anyway.
I have them followed.
I know a dragon that's streaming.
A dragon? Gwillem?
Yeah, sushi fur.
Oh, sushi. Oh, sushi first streams at this time. Oh, that's super duper early for sushi.
I know Sir Noodle has about 144 followers, and they are cool.
Oh wait, that's a cute snake with a hat though. Oh my god.
Yeah. That's how you know it's Sir Noodle Archer, because they have a hat, Sir.
Oh, sir. Wait, you're right, sir. Of course. We could read into Sir Noodle Archer. Yeah.
I do wish that I could play Deep Rock Galactic more. For some reason, it doesn't just vibe with me as. I mean, I've played it several times, a lot, and I don't know why that I just can't stick to it. I don't know why.
I feel stressed out when I play Deep Rock Galactic, especially when I stream it. No, it's like to the point where whenever I stream it and I play it, I always get shit on by chats like, oh, you're not doing this. Why you're not doing this? You're a scout. You run away with the good things. And then when I play engineer, it's like, no, that's not how you're supposed to place the turrets. Like, there's so many elitism, question mark? That's the word, right?
Yeah.
Elitism,
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of elitism going on, and I
don't know.
think
I guess for me, it's like the fact that, like, I don't know, it's a really cool game. I love the game. It's got a really solid game to do, but I played it in so many games. But for some weird reason, Deep Rock Galactic only holds me for like a couple days at a time, and then I'll come back after like a year again. I don't know why. It's a solid game. It's hard. Like,
it's fun.
But
It's
yeah, I
definitely
mean,
fun.
imagine streaming it. I can see that being a problem because it has a really powerful. It's a nice way to
Yeah.
say it. Community.
A very powerful community. Yeah, exactly. like I got those comments to a point where even when I'm off stream, and then when I realize I'm not doing something right, I just feel stressed out to a point where I'm just not really enjoying the game anymore. So that's why I kind of stopped playing it.
Yeah, it's like, what's the point then? Like, why do I want to play it? I'm not gonna have fun.
Yeah, I'm not enjoying the game anymore. Whenever I do something wrong, I just feel like, oh, I suck. It's to that point now, so I just kind of stopped playing it. It's like, yeah, no.
So really,
I
you
guess
always
most of
talk
your
about
shooting
art.
love
That's
is
important.
CS.
At least CS, no one, CS, I don't get judged for doing something wrong.
No, I mean, but I mean, the important part about CS is that you get judged no matter what you do, whether it's good or bad.
And that too, yeah. Maybe I'm getting
Yeah, like
judged, but I just don't know.
Or you just don't really care because you're like, look it, I just watched you get headshot going to A 3 times in a row in the exact same spot, and you did it for a 4th time, you dumb motherfucker. So what are you gonna say to me that matters?
True. Fair enough.
That is literally Counter-Strike in a nutshell.
I enjoy Counter-Strike.
Also, I think Counter-Strike is different because they're short, like, to the point rounds, and then Deep Rock is like, these are like long-lasting rounds.
Oh yeah.
That'd be part of it too.
At least I don't feel too much guilt if I lose a round in Counter-Strike, but whenever I die and then people have to come here and save me, I feel guilt. I feel guilty.
I don't mind dying so much. I mean, maybe that's something I've gotten used to from like Helldivers and other games. Like, if I go down, it happens. But if we fail to run, that is a different story. That is where I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I done goofed, and I feel so bad. I am so sorry.
Like just now, the
That wasn't you though. That was like all of the above. I feel bad I felt bad for that one. That was me like not being ready for it. So
nah. I mean, I didn't. I was. I brought.
Bitch, stop.
No. No.
How dare you put that on yourself? How dare you?
I'll put it on.
You have about 15 hours in the game. I have like.
Wait, am I
probably
only?
Too many.
Did I just play this game for 15 hours? No, it says 22.
Oh, I have 257 hours.
Just 10 times my time.
Yeah. I just have a little over 10 times your time.
Just
Okay.
a little over 10 times. It's fine.
But yeah, no, I get you. I get you.
Mm-mm.
So
we're
I
gonna
know
rate
the
into Sir Noodle Archer.
look at this weird ass snake with his weird hat and his weird face and his weird snake.
Look at that. Snake. It's a cute snake. I like.
Yes, I do. It's a very fun little design. It's honestly, with snakes, you can just add anything to a snake. You're like, that's fun. I like that.
Yeah. If I see a hat, if I see a hat wearing a snake, oh no! If I see a snake wearing a hat, I feel like, ooh, that's a cute snake.
Wait, no. My next Sona is gonna be a top hat that wears a snake on it.
Ooh. Oh my god.
And
so unique, wow.
you've never had a hat wearing a snake. Unique, powerful.
I'll have the one with the eyes and the mouth that talks.
Yes.
Never been done before.
Beautiful, powerful. And look at it, his dwarf has the same head that he's wearing now.
Oh, you're right. Here. I love how we're all just watching his stream right now.
Let's rate him so we can get him. He has 13 viewers. Look at that.
Yeah.
Goofball.
We're gonna raid into it. I'm just gonna plug my things real quick. I'm gonna plug my coffee, and then I'm gonna plug. Well, I'm not plugging, but I'm gonna summon Bernie, as I always do. Look, it's Bernie's gonna be blocked. And Bernie's gonna block both of you though for a little bit.
I am once again asking for your financial support.
Oh, there we go. See? Just a few moments, it's fine. And then plug my Discord Discord channel, the server channel.
Discord, baby.
Discord.
Can I get a freestyle from Tilda?
What's a freestyle? I don't know how to dance though.
No, like a freestyle isn't like freestyle, like dance with your words.
Like freestyle with my word?
Yeah, like dance. You know, something that kind of flows with you as you speak. You know, like I'm gonna deep rocket, go rocket. That was really shitty, but you know, the same idea. This whole idea, you know, it kind of flows with you.
I never done that before. Oh, it's the first time I'm hearing it.
You know Parappa the Rapper?
Oh, I played it.
Yeah, that exact same thing. Just kind of like freestyle up, baby.
So it's like, toast the buns, French the fry.
Yeah, I'm gonna toast the buns.
Toast the buns.
The fries. Exactly, you got it. If you could see my hands going, it would be much funnier. But I'm literally doing like the whole thing over here.
But do you have hands though?
I do have hands. I am a Naga.
True, I forgot.
I'm a snake tar.
Snake hen.
Nans.
Slans. Breen has slans.
Yes. Sorry, I'm like derailing us several times in a row.
Okay, I'm also it's almost 6 p.m. so I have to raid out real quick and stuff. I'll leave the Discord chat first. Hopefully that's not rude.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Thanks for playing with me again. Appreciate.
Did you play more Metal and Murph if you're still here listening?
Yeah. Thank you to Breen, Metal, and Murph. Heck yeah. If I'm playing and if you guys want to join again, heck yeah, I would love that, to be honest.
For sure, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. Alright, I'll leave first. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, there we go. I need to raid out, and we're gonna raid to a cute snake. As mentioned, alright, we're gonna raid to Sir Noodle Archer. I actually didn't know I already followed Sir Noodle Archer. I don't know when. But even though Snake doesn't have hands, I still wanna ask for Abis. I'm surprised though, I don't know when I followed him. I guess I like snakes so much that I just didn't know I followed them. I like snakes, right? I know I said I like dragon. Well, I like dragon more than I like snake, but I still like snake, right? I like snake. I don't know when. Snake magic. Snake magic. Snake magic. Okay, let me type in the rate real quick. I'm still gonna ask Noodle for uppies because, you know, I like uppies. Uppies good. Being high up, hell yeah, I like. Okay, I type in the rate. I'm ready to rate. You don't need arms for uppies. Maybe using. I mean, snake is entirely muscles, so that should work. Using body and tail. Oh no, I did drop most of my subs. It's okay. I understand. I have to drop a few of my subs as well, which is very sad. But I had to. It's alright. You can use whichever emote you want. It's totally fine. That goes to anyone as well, right? Whenever I shared a raid message, if you don't have my emotes, feel free to use whichever emotes you want that you own as well. Yeah. Just maybe don't use more than 4 since we don't want too much emotes in the chat, right? So yeah, I'm gonna raid out. So before the raid, I want to say thank you all. Thank you all so much for joining with me today. Really appreciate all of you. Love you all so much. And also know that you guys are all fucking loved, valid, and matter. Very valuable. Kobo loves y'all, right? And here comes the raid to Sir Noodle Archer. Active Snake. Thanks for libertying. Thanks for libertying with me as well. Heck yeah, I had fun. Mortar, I learned that mortar good. Die bad? Yeah, die is bad. Mortar is good. Explosion is good. Pretty much, yeah. Mortar bad. Mortar good. Mortar good. It help. Mortar good. It should explode and kill everything. Very nice. Oh, and also explosion good. Incendiary good. Yeah, including Helldivers. Well, that's... Yeah. It's okay. Mortar good. a liberty issue. It's just... Look, mortar is so good. Yeah, I've been listening to Helldivers OST, no, High Fivers OST lately. Been going back to them. I love the game. I don't know if I want to go back to the game though, but hey, I enjoy listening to the music. So yeah, see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Cobalt loves y'all. Mwah. Bye bye. Take care.